Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast podcast. I am your host, Eddie Ift. I'm actually recording right now outside in the cold, outside Rooster T. Feathers. Their green room is outdoors, and it's cold AF. I've never said that before. It really is, though. It's so cold. California cold, which is probably like 50 degrees. I'll tell you right now. Yeah, 50 degrees. I find it really cold. Anyway, an amazing episode for you today with Pat Barber. He's an OG of CrossFit. You guys all know him. He is, I think, 6 times games competitor. 6 times. I mean, look at that consistency. What a freak of an athlete, and a sandbagger, too. The guy took me surfing and was like, oh, I'm no good. And he was awesome. And I say I'm no good, but guess what? I'm no good. We had a good day. He's like a brother from another mother kind of thing. Like, I've met a lot of CrossFitters. Some of them I can relate to. A lot of them I can't. A lot of them, the only thing we have in common, we just like CrossFit. This guy, it was pretty awesome. I found a new friend in life. So it was an awesome episode. You guys, thanks for helping out the show. I want to thank all the Patreon people. Anyone that donates in Patreon, you are one of the things that keeps this going. You guys are, you're like my secret little friends. You guys are pretty awesome because you give $5, $5 a month, and that $5, you pretty much get your money's worth because there's a really good chance you're going to end up with a Myopucks. If you haven't, I don't know how that happened. Send me a message. You probably have one, but you should get a Myopucks. And if you don't know what a Myopucks is, you're living in a cave because it's just the greatest electronic muscle stimulator and TENS machine ever. I had mine on both legs going the other night because my knees are killing me. I have runner's knee from the big race I did. Trying to fix my knees because I'm going skiing. And the Myopucks, what it does is it stimulates your muscles and makes you flush out all the inflammation. Brings new blood in, takes the bad blood out to your lymphatic system. And you can also, you get a leopard claw. So Troy over there at Myopucks and Leopard Claw takes care of you guys. He's a big fan of the show. He has been supporting me for a long time. He is great. He books a lot of the guests for me. He got me Pat Barber. He's got me Jason Kalipa tomorrow. I just had an interview with Neil Maddox today. So many good guests. So many good guests coming up. Sage Henderson. Who else do I have? Freddie Camacho. Just amazing guests. I contend that no one else has a lineup this good. Is there any podcast out there? Tell me. Don't be afraid. Go, hey, Eddie, Barbell Shrugged has a better lineup than you do. Or, I don't know. It's the only other CrossFit podcast I know. Or the guy that works at CrossFit headquarters. He probably has a good list. But I think we have a pretty damn good list here. So we work hard to bring you a show every single week. All you have to do is just donate to the Patreon, $5 a month, and you'll get yourself probably a Myopucks, okay? And every week we give someone a Myopucks and a Leopard Claw. And also, the other thing, I like when you guys come out to my live shows. So there's a guy in the audience right now, and I've got a shitty show going on, so it's kind of sucks because then he comes in and he's like, wow, you suck. But I didn't get to get on the radio and promote my shows this week. So a little awkward. It's kind of a dead show right now. Anthony De La Torre sitting in there in the audience. But thanks for coming, Anthony. Anyway, what's going on? I'm going to be in Tahoe. Well, wait a minute. This episode is airing... it's airing tonight, yeah. I'm in Tahoe. I'm at the Throckmorton Theater on Tuesday in Mill Valley, if anyone's around. Throckmorton Theater on Tuesday. Then Wednesday through Sunday, I'm at the Improv at Harvey's Casino in Lake Tahoe. I will be there Wednesday through Sunday. If you want to come up, if you're around that area, Reno or anything, or you're going on vacation, come see me. That is the 8th to the 12th. Then I head to Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at the MGM Grand. I will be there the 13th through the 19th of January. And then I head to Worcester, Massachusetts, I will be the January 23rd, 24th, 25th. I'll be at Worcester at the Woo Ha Ha Comedy Club, my favorite name of any comedy club. Maybe I'm being sarcastic, maybe I'm not. And then I go to New York City. I'll be at the Comedy Cellar 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th at the Comedy Cellar. Oh, I'm also doing Gotham Comedy Club one night. I think it's 28th. I'm at the Comedy Juice Gotham Comedy Club. Then 30, 31, and 1 of February, I'll be at Laugh Boston in Boston. And then the week after that, I'm at the House of Comedy in Vancouver. And then I head off to Australia and apparently Saudi Arabia. So come see me before I get my head cut off. All my tickets are available at eddieif.com. Thanks for supporting the show. And I think that's it. Whoa, that's loud. That's really loud. We do have a sponsor. We have a sponsor. I'm going to try to get this shit shut off, and I'll tell you about our sponsor. I told you we have a sponsor. We do, and it's called FitIv. FitIv. It's my new favorite. I got a couple favorite apps, but FitIv is one of my favorites. FitIv Pulse is an all-in-one health and fitness app for iOS and Android. I'm using it now. I use it on my phone, but I also have it connected to my Apple Watch. And it's the best way to track your progress and level up your performance. FitIv Pulse has the tools that you need to succeed. I was having trouble with that word, so I just said it 10 times. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to connect maybe your Apple Watch, your Bluetooth heart rate monitor, any kind of smartwatch. You're going to record your workouts and then visualize your real-time heart rate data. So that's what it's doing. It's compiling your heart rate data. It's going to tell you afterwards. It's going to give you lots of customized options for a tailor-made workout tracking experience. It's got features like voice notifications, workout groups, personalized workout groups. We're going to have our own workout group. Here's what I want you to do. Go to our Facebook. You can join the Wadcast Challenge. That's right. We have a Wadcast Challenge. It's a weekly reoccurring challenge. I'm going to be talking about it on the show every week, okay? So let's start it. We're going to start it. I'm going to give you 1 week to get ready for it. We're going to start next week when the next episode comes out, and it's going to reset every Friday. That's what's going to happen Friday to Friday. And I want to see who can fucking beat me. That's right. Come at me, people. You want to compete against me? I guarantee I'll crush you all. So, all you're going to do, you're going to get on and you're going to click on the link and it'll send you to the App Store. And once you've already clicked it, you'll be in the challenge once you get the app. So just get the app and we're all going to compete. All right? How about that? It's great. CrossFitters all are using this. They love FitIv Pulse. It's got it gives you a visual workout summary. It's got supportive in-app community and standalone Apple Watch app that keeps you progressing towards your goals. So if you want to... God damn it! There goes that air conditioner again. I don't know why, but it doesn't like me. I was just about to finish. This is the most important part. If you want an app that is built just for someone like you that's a CrossFitter, go to fitiv.com/promo. Enter the promo code WADCAST for 33% off a year subscription. That's fitiv, fitiv.com/promo. fitiv.com/promo. Enter the promo code WADCAST for 33% off a year subscription. That's fitiv, fitiv.com/promo. Enter WADCAST, 33% off a subscription. Unlock your fitness with FitIv Pulse. Get into it with me. Let's see how this goes. Let's compete. Come on, get into it. I swear to God, every Friday I'm going to crush you all.
Testy testicles.
That's Pat Barber, everybody, saying testes. I got him right there.
There it is.
Don't try to act like you're a saint. You just said testicles on the beginning of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to this episode of the Wadcast Podcast, maybe officially in the weirdest place I've ever recorded one. I'm in the middle of a park. We look like a couple pedophiles.
Yeah. Because we're in a park or just the way we look?
Probably the combination of both. I mean, truthfully, the two of us, these women walking by with kids in a stroller, are probably so freaked out right now.
I mean, we're far enough away from the actual structures that I feel like you can have some but we need like a dog. We need to pretend that like we're here walking our dog, but we don't have a dog. So like every once in a while we should just be like, hey, Fluffy, have you seen Fluffy? Where's like, so we like look like we're more in place.
If either one of us had like a Megan's Law violation, I don't think we could be where we are.
I agree with you. Luckily, neither of us do. Well, I cannot speak for you.
Well, I got to say, before we start the show, or we did start the show, thanks for taking me surfing today, or I guess it was, I didn't surf, I observed.
You did some fantastic observing.
I paddled out and then pussed out. I just pussed out like I've done that probably like 4 times in my life, and it's always with someone that it's like my first time surfing with them, where it's like, I swear I know how to do this.
But that, I mean, like, to be honest, we could have gone to another place that was a little bit gentler, more gentle, a little bit more gentle, but at the same time, that probably had the most opportunity to catch waves.
Oh, yeah.
There was a left.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that we went to something, but the ocean kind of threw.
That was pumping. What was the name of that spot?
That place is called 26th.
Yeah, that was pumping.
It was. It's a good wave. It was fun.
I honestly haven't seen waves that big in probably 2 years.
Yeah, we're at the tail end of a solid swell.
Yeah,
I even got some like pitter patters in the heart there while we were out there, and I was looking at you on your backside, going, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. I just thought. And when I switched over to the left, I was like, oh, this will be better. We're doing surf talk that no one's going to, five guys that listen to this are going to get. And I always feel bad about that, but everybody's going to be surfing now that Kelly Slater's going to open a wave pool everywhere around the world. And now there'll be too many people surfing. But I got to say, I knew you were from around here, and then Troy got a hold of me. He was like, hey, Pat Barber's in Santa Cruz. And I was like, fuck, yeah, I got to get him. What a wonderful life you have here. You got an amazing family. You've got this town is just Santa Cruz is just so cool.
It is really cool. I think it's one of those places though that you have to move away from to really respect. Like I think if you grow up here and never leave here, just like anyone who grows up in one town and never leaves, they have this like skewed sense of what it is, you know, whether positive or negative. And I think for me, I never respected how many amazing things were here until I left, and that was the huge.
So you were like born and raised here?
Born and raised in Santa Cruz, yeah. I mean, I lived in San Jose for a little bit through like 3 years when I was like 6, 7, 8, and then moved back here, and then lived the rest of my life here. And then,
what brought your parents to Santa Cruz?
My mom's from the East Coast. My dad's from originally he was from what was it? Indiana.
Really?
And his parents started road tripping, and they road tripped all the way across, and they were living in San Jose, and they spent some time in Santa Cruz, and my mom decided to leave her kind of crazy family scene that she was in, so she came all the way to the West Coast, and they kind of got into the hippie scene, and Santa Cruz had a bit of a mecca for the yoga, kind of sort of spirituality dealio, so they found themselves here.
Oh, that's cool, because I think there's a lot of, I mean, I feel like everybody in California is pretty much a transplant at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, we all are, unless you're indigenous. But growing up in Pittsburgh, I was like, oh, California. Yeah. That's where I want to live. And you get here and you realize why. It is amazing. And people, a lot of people have this hatred towards California when I travel. Oh, fucking California. I'm like, have you ever been? Yeah. And they're like, because I have a feeling you wouldn't say that anymore. or if you have been, you're just purely jealous.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's awesome. And then they love to find whatever's bad about it. Like, hey, your homeless problem. I'm like, it's not our homeless problem. It's ours.
The homeless
it's
problem.
The whole country's problem. They just were smart enough to come here. You're still dumb living in fucking North Dakota where you are.
Hey, North Dakota is beautiful at times, all right?
I've never been. I've been to every state except for North and South.
Really?
Only 2. And I have no urge.
Okay, fair enough.
I've called it quits.
I think you've probably insulted it so many times, it's like your go-to insult state that you're just never going to go there.
Well, it's also like this. Tom Segura, a buddy of mine, insulted, I think it was New Orleans. He insulted so much that he now has sold out, like, when he goes there, he sells out like 10 shows in a row. Like, they've just paid so much attention to him because he insulted them.
Oh, wow.
So bring it on, North Dakota.
So you're coming to North Dakota. That's what you're saying.
I probably will go there at some point.
Fair enough.
Have you been?
I have not, actually.
Then don't stick up for them. It's a shithole. You hear that, North Dakota? You're a shithole. Come at me.
I like it.
There's just no. Why is there North and South? It should just be Dakota.
It should just be Dakota.
If we're going to add Puerto Rico, which is eventually going to happen, Puerto Rico is going to be a state. That I don't want to change the flag. I like 50. It's a good number.
Right.
Get rid of North and South Dakota. Make it Dakota.
That is not a bad idea. So, like, once we start acquiring new places, that we just, exactly like you said, you just merge certain states together. It's
a great idea.
All that, the Northeast, like that whole place can probably just become one section.
Because they all cheer for the Patriots.
Exactly.
There's no, like, it's not the Maine Patriots or the Massachusetts Patriots.
No.
It's the New England.
Just turn those all into one.
New England becomes one. I think North and South Carolina could become one.
Yeah. You can actually throw Tennessee in there for all.
Pennsylvania, Ohio could become one. It's pretty much the same. And New Mexico, we might as well just give that to Mexico.
There it is.
Yeah,
and then we can acquire a few more states here and there.
I would like to give up some cities in America and then take, like, Cabo.
Cabo's interesting.
Like give Mexico, like, Toledo. They get Toledo, we get Cabo.
Fair enough.
We trade them, like, I'm trying to think where I've been that I just really didn't like. I'm also saying places where I'm not booked.
Where I didn't like, actually I'm not going.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. We give them that. We get, what's a good city? I'll take...
Take Cape Town.
No, I don't want something that far away.
Okay.
You're a big fan of Cape Town because of the wife, huh?
Well, yeah, it's more so around it, but yeah.
You like yeah, me too. But I do like Cape Town, like Clifton and Camps Bay and all that's...
It's pretty unreal.
It looks a lot like Malibu.
Does it really?
Mm-hmm. Clifton does.
Okay.
But it's pretty scary. I had some shady experiences there.
Well, I think just like any city, you can go to a place and have a really shady experience. Like you walk around Chicago and you're like, oh, there's a lot of shootings here.
Did you do any of the CrossFit competitions there?
No, I didn't do any of the CrossFit competitions in Cape Town. We were there during their big like Cape Town CrossFit competition, so we went and watched that. And we had a couple gyms that run our program who were in it.
Okay,
but we didn't do any.
I need to preface for people that are new to this world of CrossFit and fitness and whatever that might not know who you are, which anyone who's been around knows, but you were in the game 6 times. That's like, I don't know if there's only I mean, there might be like 3 of you.
there's a few. And
who? Graham?
What was that?
Did Graham Holmberg make 6?
Oh yeah, Graham Holmberg made it 6.
You 6, Kalipa 6.
Yep, Kalipa 6, Spieler 6,
Froning 6,
Bridges.
It's got to be like maybe 10
You just had to
you.
Start earlier on, you know. It was like we were around at the right time.
I know, it's so funny, but all you guys don't take credit for, like, you act like the guys that were in earlier games, like Tommy Hackenbrook, so humble about it, like, oh, you know, there weren't that many people in it. And it's like, but you all still crush it, so.
It's been fun. We got lucky. We got lucky to find it early on. I mean, I started when I was like 18, so like.
You started here.
Yeah.
And this is like the beginning of it.
Yeah, CrossFit Santa Cruz was the original CrossFit.
And you went to the original.
I went to the original, yeah.
So Glassman was your coach.
Glassman, I took some of his classes. So the way that gym worked is it was a very small space, and they must have had 22 trainers in it. And and I'm not joking. Like it was 22 trainers, and you could all run your classes whenever you want. So it's an open schedule, right? So you'd have 3 classes going on at 3:30, and they'd all be run by different coaches in a space that's the size, 1,100 square feet. 2,000 square feet, something like that. And so someone would be outside, someone would be inside. You're doing your programming, they're doing their programming. So I've taken Greg's classes, but my main coach was Tony Budding and Hollis and Danielle Malloy.
Do you still keep in touch with Tony?
Yeah, I do actually.
What's he doing now?
He's running the Drone Racing League. So,
I had a feeling he was still. I didn't know if he was still doing that.
He is, yeah. So from the last time I bumped into him, I just. Like I'll see him. I'll go out eating dinner. I'll go out and eat dinner, and I'll just bump into him or something like that.
Okay, so you've been in the thick of this. I know a lot from hearsay and that, but you know from being there. And I'm not trying to take credit away from anybody or give credit, but and Castro's done a phenomenal job with the games, and he's a mastermind. But Tony, what was Tony's part in the games? What was he like? Like, was he the guy that was like the handshaking guy into the athletes, or was he the points guy? Who figured everything out when it comes to the games?
Tony was a lot of the mechanics behind the mainly the media. So like Tony was the first guy to come on board and say, hey, this needs to be taken. We need to take photographs of this, and we need to make videos and put them on the internet, and we need to. And so he took CrossFit from like a web page with a workout, which was fantastic, and really started promoting and doing media. And so he taught himself how to take photos, he taught himself how to film, he taught himself to edit, and that was like our original job, was to build all of that. And so when the media team and the games
and were you working on the media team?
Yeah, okay. I worked on the media team when the media team was me and Tony. Like put it this way, when I quit working media, there was like 3 to 4 of us, and
so who was it then?
2 years later, so Rory McKernan, I trained to come do my job.
Okay,
he was one of them. Tony was another, and then we had Savon and Carrie had filmed the Every Second Counts movie, and then there was occasional contractors who would come in and do stuff, and then that was pretty much the media team.
Okay,
and then it slowly got bigger and bigger. But then when I left, I think within 2 years, I went to a media summit that was 200 people. Wow. So it was like 2 years, and so it was really when the game started to pick up that you saw that amount of growth from within the company, and everyone brought it on board. But so Tony's whole thing was he ran the media side of things, which was a giant arm of what CrossFit was. I mean, these days they've killed all that,
right?
But essentially, at one point in time, Greg was like, "What we are is a media company."
Yeah,
because that's what they provided. The larger space was the platform to put the message out of CrossFit.
That's why I'll never understand why he acts that. I mean, it was just such a massive platform, and I get there was a lot of overhead, but I feel like you could cut the overhead because people want content, and sometimes I feel like people don't care about quality of content. They just want content, and like. But
you're feeding the machine, right? So for him, he's like big time liberal, or not libertarian, not liberal, libertarian, different. And he's like all about not having control and letting businesses fail on their own. And the thing I give Greg a lot of credit for a lot of things, but I think one of the number one things he's never done is made a decision for the money. Like, and that's the most bizarre thing to me, is like a full-time CEO. Like, yeah, sure, he's made some pretty rash, done some things, but like everything is done because he thinks it's the right thing to do for the community or for his vision that he has. Whether or not you agree with his vision, that's beside the point. It's his company.
It is pretty cool. And I'm the first to criticize him, but I'm also the first to compliment him. And I love that about him because he's got enough money.
Right.
He's got enough money. So I would rather do something cool and something that like I have control of than just be in that rat race of like who can get a bigger jet and who can own an island and who can have I feel like he could be in that race.
Oh, for sure he could.
And start competing, or he could just go, I just got the coolest life ever, and I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
He takes other route. He's like, I'm going to use this and go attack for some giant social cause that I believe in. Like he's attacking the current health industry. Like,
right. Which needs to be done.
For sure, but like as CrossFit? Like, that's crazy. That's a huge swing we're taking.
Let me ask you that. Do you think that's out of complete benevolence, or do you think it's a little bit out of spite?
Both.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think it's
not benevolent. I never once said it would be benevolence. It's more like he's like, this is fucked up.
Well, no. What I mean by spite, I mean like benevolence of like, I've got to like help the world. But spite, I mean, when Coca-Cola's funding the whatever NSPC, what are they called?
NSCA.
What is it? NSCA.
CA, yeah.
I always fuck that up. The NSCA, when they basically slandered CrossFit, that's enough. That's your baby.
Yeah.
And they're slandering your shit. You're going to go to war.
Oh yeah.
So is it? He's like,
oh, that's 100% about spite. I mean, it's also like when I used to talk to Greg way back in the day, he's like, my goal with what we do here is to undermine the current fitness industry as it stands. And part of the original level ones was he would get up there and he'd say, like, one of the things that he would see is he was trying to do CrossFit in the corner of this conventional gym here. And he was getting these members who would come in and everyone would just join him and they do it all in the corner. And at one point in time, the gym owner pulled him aside and was like, hey man, you can't be here anymore. And he's like, why? He's like, well, people are actually coming to what you're doing. They're using the equipment and they're making a scene, you know, like they're doing stuff in the corner. And he's like, if we had our members actually come in, we would be out of business because
they didn't want them there.
They don't. You don't want your members to come in because the goal is to sell low and never have them show up. So like people get a $15 membership and never come. So the industry of health was not about health. It was not about fitness. It was not about actually making people better. It was about creating an idea that they could and selling them that idea and then hoping that they never came.
Yeah, and then getting them in a plan. Like I remember one time I signed up for Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
And it was so cheap. And then I found CrossFit, and I got kicked out of the Gold's Gym. I didn't get kicked out. I was dropping weights, and they were yelling at me. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm out. So I tried to quit, and it's easier to quit the Catholic Church than it is Gold's Gym. And I had to quit the Catholic Church. I literally, my sister said she wouldn't come to my wedding because I didn't have a Catholic priest. We did it outside. And my sister's like seriously Catholic, and she was like, it would be, I could get, what's the word they use when you get kicked out? And I was like, you can't get excommunicated. And I was like, you can't get kicked. She's like, well, because you're a Catholic and you're not I go, I'm not a Catholic. She goes, yeah, you are. So I looked it up, and to get excommunicated, it's like impossible.
Oh, okay.
They don't.
Yeah.
They have you.
Yeah.
You can't leave unless you like threaten the Pope's life, or there's like two things you can do.
Right.
And so I was like, I guess I got to threaten the Pope. And
that's my only option here.
It was just to say to my sister, like, you're an idiot, but Gold's Gym is that hard to quit.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I bet you like the conventional gym model was originally started to help people. You know, like people originally did this, but then it's like, how do we make more money? Well, let's make it really fancy, make it really cheap, and just play on human psychology that they don't show up because none of this stuff is effectual.
I always want to be at that meeting. I want to be at the meeting where the guy goes, like I read about Hewlett-Packard one time. They said, hey, we can make more money if we set the thing on your computer that says your toner is low before your toner's even lower, so that they'll throw it out quicker. Let's bump it up. So we'll sell more toner. And I just want to I want to see that guy.
Yeah.
I want to see the guy that's just a piece of shit like that that goes, I got an idea.
But you got to hope that guy is one of two things. Either it's just his whole life he's just been fucked on by people and he's just become this twisted bag of shit, or he's in a place where the only thing he can do is, hey, we need to make more money at any expense. If we don't, I lose my job. So he comes up with this idea, let's bump up the toner. You know, like,
I don't think it's either, because I've come across these people in Hollywood, and I think it's just
bad people.
It's all for me. Screw them. Survival of the fittest.
Right.
If they're dumb enough to do it, that's their problem.
Right.
And so that's why I don't like them.
No, I feel that.
And I look at them like, it was something I was just reading about a pharmaceutical company or something, and I was like, who's the guy at that business that was like, all right, we know that this makes people sick, but we're still going to sell it. You know, like,
what about the guy recently who was like, he bought all the rights to a certain medication, and then he like 10 times the price of like a necessary medication, and you're like, you, sir, are the lowest rung on the totem pole, which is actually reversed. It should be the highest rung. But
yeah, I remember that story about that guy, and I tried to find, I always feel like there's another side to this story, and I tried to see
he was just a bag
I think he's in prison.
I hope he's dead.
Yeah, I think he's in prison.
I'm a mean person.
People went after him.
Oh, I mean, he deserved it in every regard.
And he started, like, I think he was trolling everybody from prison.
Yep.
Yeah, he was a bad guy.
Yeah, they exist, man. You bump into them in life. It's really weird when you actually meet someone who's like that and you have these conversations, you start to push behind some of the walls that they have, and you realize they're pretty fragile people.
Yeah.
Like they usually have like an air of confidence about them, and then you start like leaning on certain things.
Oh, yeah.
And they come toppling down. And I've had many a conversation with people who I'm like, okay, I'll become associated with you and I'll have a conversation and I'll be like, oh, you suck. Like, you really suck.
Oh,
I went stab me in the eye the second I turn around.
It's fun to find their vulnerabilities, and I one time at a meeting with one of the biggest Hollywood executives, and he will screw you over left and right, and he's a power guy, and to get him on the phone is impossible, and he loves his power, and he drives his Ferrari and everything. Somehow, he and I ended up having a couple coffee meetings to, like, talk business.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal for me to be with him, and he knew it. And at the meeting, I found out that the only reason I was there was because this guy couldn't get laid.
Right.
and he thought that I'd have some insight for him.
Right.
To help him get laid.
Sounds about right.
And I just watched him.
The love doctor. Right?
I just watched him be like so small at that point that I was like, oh wow, you're so vulnerable right now. I just found out you're chink in your armor. You can't get laid, which is fueling this entire this is why you've become this monster.
It's bizarre.
And then somehow you thought I'd be able to advise you.
Yeah.
And
what can I get from you?
Yeah, and it was really weird. He was like so he's out of shape.
So then Harvey Weinstein tells you.
It was pretty, I mean, it's that level. We're talking that level of guy.
Oh, shit.
And he said to me, "Can you get me in shape? Can you it was like he wanted me to do like an extreme makeover with him." And I was like, this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened. Like I thought we were going like this is a business meeting where he's going to get me a deal somewhere, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm like Hitch for this guy. I'm fucking I'm Will Smith for Kevin James. My job is to get this guy laid." And it was sad, but I want to go back to the CrossFit thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
How'd you find it?
CrossFit?
Yeah.
Tony Bunny's my high school teacher. So
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he was my high school English teacher. Nicole Carroll is my high school pottery teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was just like a young hippie girl teaching pottery. And then she became the megastar that she is.
And Nicole's still there.
Oh yeah, Nicole's the director of training. Her and Dave Castro.
she's
Nicole is an incredibly stoic and powerful woman.
Oh yeah, I met her one time. Glassman came to speak at Pepperdine, and she was there, and I just was like, I didn't know much about her, but I was like, who is this person that they all kind of like are in fear of?
Yeah, but it's an interesting fear because she never like does anything outwardly that would be like, you fear me, but she carries herself so powerfully and like speaks so powerfully and like so succinctly that it's like you're clearly out of your league. And
what'd she teach? What class?
She was pottery. She taught me how to spin dough.
Was she a good teacher?
Yeah, I mean, I was 15, 16. It's like
you don't know what's a good teacher or not.
Shitty person in high school, so it wasn't like I had much of a.
But how weird is that? And so was she a workout freak then?
She wasn't. So her dad was like a super bodybuilder guy.
Okay.
I think he was in some sort of high level fitness stuff. And then so Tony Budding Googled. I don't even know if it was Google at the time, but he put in to the interwebs how to clean and jerk because he wanted to learn how to do that because he heard that it would make volleyball players more explosive.
And you were a volleyball player.
I was volleyball. We only had one sport at the school. It was volleyball.
Are you serious?
I graduated in a class of 10 kids. Small hippie school, man. So he put that in, and CrossFit Santa Cruz popped up. So Tony went down, and he's like, I just want to learn how to clean and jerk. And they were like, okay, we'll teach you how to clean and jerk, but we do this other stuff. It's called CrossFit. And Tony saw it, and he was like, Tony's what we like to call a puncture guy. Mm-hmm. When he gets into something, he gets in, and he's also really smart. Mm-hmm. He's never surface level. Like he's like a deep guy, and he saw like the value that CrossFit had and how unique it was, and he understood fitness, and he understood intelligent people. And he talked to Greg, and he's like, "Holy crap! Yeah, this is it. This is not only a gold mine financially. Like there's one gym worldwide at this time, but it's also like profound. Like as far as a methodology, it's like the first fitness methodology that is based around." Data, like the first person to ever put a definition that's an empirically driven definition to fitness. Yeah, it's like how could we have an industry that was labeled this and have no definition for it? Interesting. Greg Glassman, they used to say this at the level ones. They don't say it anymore, but you'll probably appreciate it being a comedian. But he's like, the fitness industry before we came along was basically a bunch of people having a dick measuring contest, and all the rulers were hidden. We were all wearing trench coats. And he's like, and now the trench coats are off and the rulers are out. Oh, that's hilarious. And so that was like one of the ending lines at the old level ones. Obviously, we've grown, so we don't say that anymore. But I think it packs quite a bit of a punch because it was like... I like that they used to... when I got into CrossFit, there was swearing, there was this, there was that. So I kind of wish they still had that. And I think you can have both. You can have both, and I think you just need a really experienced person to deliver it that way. And if you were to come take a seminar from me, I guarantee you we'd have some fun. Yeah. Well, it's like stand-up. People go, I can't believe you can say this. And I'm like, no one walked out because I made it funny and everybody... There are jokes you can do that if a person doesn't know how to deliver it, you can offend every single person in the room. Totally. And there's a way to do it, and there's a way to handle it. And that's why I believe there shouldn't be rules to words or what you can say. 100%. It's all contextual. 100%. I mean, I could call...
I could call a fat person fat and hurt their feelings really badly, and I could call you fat and you'd be like, hilarious.
Cool, man.
Right. So it's all contextual.
Well, it's also like you can say whatever you want. It's just people are gonna think of you differently. Right?
Sure.
So like
I tell my daughter that.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you can do pretty much anything that you want, but people are going to look at you differently.
Yeah.
Like you want to say some really dumb stuff in an inappropriate situation, go for it. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah.
But you're not going to have any friends.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be liked by anyone around you.
Yep.
Like, and it's a matter of fitting into whatever situation you
I heard my wife explaining a bad word to my daughter, and my daughter was like, why is that bad? And she's like, I was really glad my wife did. She goes, it's not really. She's like, it's not really a bad word. She goes, just a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
And she goes, so you have to realize, do you want people not to like you?
Yeah.
She's like, you can say it. I'm not going to tell you not to say it, but I'm going to tell you that you're going to upset a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know what word it was, shit or something pretty innocuous. But the fact that she's like, there's a lot of people that don't really, and my wife was explaining, she's like, there's a lot of people that really don't think into things enough, and trying to explain it to a 5-year-old. But my daughter kind of got it. Yeah. She was like, oh, okay, so I shouldn't say it because I'll upset people.
Right. And it's not like because you don't say shit. You know, like it's not like that. I find humanity very interesting. Like the society that we live in, and like going to different places and traveling around and seeing like the old generation. Like I just had my mother and father-in-law living with me for 3 weeks while they were out here for the holidays.
From South Africa.
Well, they're born and bred South Africans, like Dutch South African. Like Afrikaans is my father-in-law. And
oh wow.
The mother.
Does your wife speak Afrikaans?
She used to be able to as a kid, but she can't anymore.
Yeah.
But they are so old generation, you know, like, and they moved to New Zealand, and that's where they live now. So they came out from New Zealand, but it's like there's.
They're in Auckland?
They're in Tauranga. So
I know Tauranga.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I say it wrong all the time. Tauranga.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Like,
did I say it wrong?
Yeah, you said it wrong.
Okay, how do you say it?
Tauranga.
Tauranga.
Yeah, and even then, I'd probably be corrected.
I've probably done 3 shows there.
Yeah.
And every time I said it on stage, and the whole audience laughed. Like,
nice.
You said it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's part of the bit now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to teach seminars out in New Zealand and Australia, and I'd play against all of those. It's like I'd be like, we have baseball. It's a lot like cricket, but not shitty, you know. Like, and they're fun anyway. But they came out, and you know, their whole generation has all these like manners and stuff, and I get manners. I get manners when they mean something.
Yeah, when
you know,
makes
like
sense.
when it's like, you know, when it's like you wash your hands after you take a piss. You know, like these things that have, but like, don't wear your hat at the dinner table. I'm like,
I just had that fight. I just had that fight with my wife's grandfather.
Right.
And everybody in the family's like, Eddie, just take it off.
Right.
Just take it off. Right. And I'm like, but why?
Right.
And they're all like, don't why, just do it. He's old. He won't be here long. You know,
right.
And
I understand that too. Like, yeah, sure. Okay. For
sure.
grandpa wank off, I'm going to take my hat off. But like as parents, when you're raising the next generation, you got to like reevaluate some of the stuff and be like, why does this stuff exist?
I did it with ties.
Yeah.
The first thing, I went to work for my dad. He wears a tie every day to work. He's like, you got to wear a tie. I went to work and I was like, this hurts. This doesn't make sense. It covers my buttons.
Yeah.
Do my buttons offend you? Like, these are the conversations my dad and I would have. I'm like, are you offended by buttons,
what
Dad?
Was the job?
My dad owns a estate planning, financial investment firm.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's got these big clients. He's like, you need to look professional. And I'm like, and I would do the explanation of like, Dad, if you show me a guy who looks professional and a guy who shows me success, I'm going to go with the guy's success. I don't give a shit what he looks like.
Right.
And my dad's like, no, we put off a good image here. And I'm like, your tie is dumb. I go, it's dumb. It hurt. It chokes you. It doesn't make any sense. It takes longer to put on. I'm like, that's why I loved CrossFit, because it was functional. Yeah. The tie was not functional, other than I can see you're going out and it's dress up and you want to dress up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But it's not for day to day going to work. You're not going to perform well with a tie on. I believe you can perform fucking in a sweatsuit than you can a suit.
Right.
So,
but take the other psychology around somebody who's like, who when they dress up like that, they put on a different face.
Sure.
Like you probably can do that in any outfit, right? But somebody who like looks at that and sees that as professional, when they put it on, they then get professional. Like the tie is appropriate for that person, and like they need it.
Yeah.
But for you, it's like, Dad, don't don't make me wear a tie.
Yeah.
I'll sell more. How about this? I'll sell double the amount if I don't have a tie. And then, okay, Dad.
Yeah, that's why I got into comedy, because I was like, wait, what do I have to wear? And they're like, whatever you want. I'm like, whatever. What do I have to bring to work? Nothing. So I just show up. That's all you got to do. Okay, this is the best job ever.
Dude, that's coaching for the most part. Like, I mean, if you like people, like imagine if you had a comedian who didn't want to be funny, like who showed up and just said the words. Like,
there are coaches like that.
100%. So like a comedian who would go stand on stage and just take the ridicule or just like see a dead room in front of him and never try to change that. That's what happens day in and day out when I see these people who get into coaching who don't want to be coaches. They don't get a passion from somebody getting better at the, getting their first pull up or getting a better push up, moving better. Right. The people who are really good, like, in a way, get off on someone in front of them being like, I just got my first pull up. And you're like, yes! And you take that as your success. You bring it on board. But I see plenty of people who are like, whether they've been overworked or they're exhausted or whatever it is, they get into this business and then they get out there in front of people and I'm like, this is not the job for you. Like, you could have any job where you don't have to talk to people. You could go work in a restaurant. You could do anything. Why are you here? Like, this is...
I used to have a CrossFit coach like that. And I was afraid to ask him questions because he would look at me like, what? Why are you asking me this? And I was like,
because you're the coach.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. I want to get better and you don't want me to get better. and I never, like, and I'm friends with the owner of the gym and I never once went to the owner and was like, what the fuck do you have this guy here?
Dude, you got to do that.
But when he got rid of him, the first thing I said was like, thank God, that guy was a douchebag and you never should have had him coaching. I just read an article in Morning Chalk Up about an accountant.
Yeah, I just read that one.
It was a great article.
Yeah, it was a fantastic article, and I think that one of my favorite parts was when he's like, because I deal with gyms. That's what I do. As I work with affiliates, and I've worked for many affiliates and built some really successful things. And it was like the idea of having people who buy into what you do and who are 100% behind the mission that you have. I mean, first off, you have to have a mission.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get into it and they're like, we're going to do CrossFit. And it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you even know the definition of CrossFit?
Yeah.
Do you know what we're trying to achieve? Because we're trying to achieve fitness. That's our main thing, is fitness. So if you're adding a bunch of random shit in there that's not helping them achieve fitness simply to change your bottom line, you don't believe in CrossFit. You don't believe in this methodology. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Call yourself Jim's Gym.
Yeah.
And call yourself something else. Like, and then don't bitch about having to pay your membership or your affiliation yearly. But if you buy into the methodology, which is what everyone did initially, is like, you need to understand what that means and you need to have people who follow that. And what's happening right now is affiliate owners will have they'll have this vision initially. They'll get a little burnt out. They'll bring someone on board and then they'll hire a couple other people. And then these people don't have the same vision for what they're trying to deliver to their people. And then just like you said, like, you get these bad apples who people are really loyal to because human beings want to make connections. They want to make friends. And you think that by getting rid of them, you're going to lose a bunch of people, and you probably will. But they were probably shitty people for your space. Yeah, that was the thing in the article. It was
great.
You have to, as the owner or as the head coach or whatever it is, the people who work with you have to have the same vision.
I've had it in my experiences with, like, I hire people that work for me on my shows and things like that. And when there is a cancer, and it can be a coach, you have to cut that cancer out.
100%.
And you got to sometimes cut a lot of healthy tissue around the cancer to get rid of that cancer. And it's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. But in the long run, you're going to be healthy because of it. So if you're a gym owner and you've got a cunty coach out there, get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a different gym every week. Wherever I am, I go in and I work out in the gym. And so often I'll walk out and I'll say to the coach, I'll be like, dude, that was the best coaching I've ever. Thank you. That was great. But there are so many times, I'd say, I'm just throwing a random number, 25% of the time I walk out like, they need to fire him.
Yeah.
Like get rid of him. All right. I hate to interrupt the show. I hate to. I hate it. But I have to, because this show is supposed to and is about your health. And if you really think about your health, you need to think about what I'm going to talk to you about. Okay. There is a product that every one of you, if you're serious about your health, needs to take. There is a company called Elysium, and Elysium has this thing. I've been taking it NAD plus /basis, And Elysium's a company that they have done like some serious, rigorous trials to kind of find this stuff out. They've got like this hardcore, like the expert on aging. They've got a guy named what's his name? Dr. Leonard Guarente, and he's out of MIT. You know, MIT might be just one of the top schools in the world. And this guy's the director of the Glenn Center for Biology of Aging Research at MIT. And he basically does all this research there, and he came upon something through his research that could be very good for everyone that's listening. And that is a supplement that you should be taking. It's called Basis, and it's the culmination of more than 25 years of research on the process of aging. Basis is a proprietary formulation of crystalline nicotinamide riboside. Might be riboside. I think it's riboside. And it supports cellular health by increasing and sustaining NAD plus levels and activating sirtuins. Okay, so NAD plus levels, we all have them, and they decline in our bodies by as much as 50% by middle age. So you've heard about your testosterone going down, right? And what that does to you. Well, NAD plus is estimated to be involved in over 500 different cellular reactions in humans. And it also plays a key role in cellular metabolism and cellular energy production and supports mitochondrial health. Okay, so do you get all that? I'm going to break it down for you. Okay, 500 different cellular reactions. Plays a key role in cellular metabolism, so how your cells are metabolizing energy. Cellular energy production, how your cells are creating energy, and also mitochondrial health. All right, all of this, it's important. And the sirtuins are involved in the critical cellular processes, including supporting a healthy metabolism, cellular energy production. Sirtuins play a key role in regulating cellular homeostasis and metabolism. Did you guys hear how I went homeostasis? Sirtuins also stimulate the activity of mitochondria, but these sirtuins only function in the presence of NAD plus. So the NAD plus declines. Well, guess what? We're going to get you some NAD plus. Elysium is the company. They've got the product's called Basis, and they've done the clinical studies. The studies show that taking the recommended dosage of 2 capsules of Basis every day increases your NAD plus levels by an average of 40%. Basis is tested for quality and purity by third-party labs, including NSF International. So you basically know you're getting what's on the label. And here's what you should expect. All right. You know it's working at the cellular level because of the clinical study. Okay. And many of the benefits of increased NAD plus are things you won't feel, including enhanced mitochondrial function, active sirtuins. However, the people that have been taking it, the Basis customers, also report experiencing higher energy, better sleep, and more satisfying workouts. Taking the supplement Basis by Elysium Health is a small change that can have an outsized impact on your health because it increases levels of a molecule that's fundamental to life. Your cells use it for hundreds of biological processes. Why are you waiting? Get on this right now. This week, all right? Listeners can get $45 off a 6-month to 1-year subscription of Basis by visiting trybasis.com/wadcast. That's trybasis.com/wadcast. Use the promo code WADCAST, WODCAST. That's trybasis.com/wadcast. Promo code's WADCAST. It's a full month of free Basis and get a great deal on a groundbreaking supplement.
And let me ask you this, because I have my answer for it. When you walk out and you say to yourself, they need to fire him, what's the reason? What's the reason that for you, you're like, they need to get rid of that guy? Because I'll tell you my answer afterwards.
I would say probably just like you said, like a not caring at all.
And how does that manifest in the relation? In like the
well,
back and
see,
forth
I get to see it in a good way. That here I am. I'm a drop-in.
Yeah.
You shouldn't give a shit about me, because I mean,
you keep going. Compared to your paying normal members, sure.
But when they do care about me,
Yes.
that means they care about everyone else even more.
100%.
And so the fact that they paid attention to me,
Yep.
being a guy who's not even, I usually drop in for free,
Yeah.
and they still come over to me and correct things and go this, and you could do this, and have you ever tried this, and do this for fix this? And I'm like, holy shit, if you just spent that much time with me, how much time do you spend with your members? Yeah. So, the other people that just treat me like, fuck you, you're here, we don't give a shit, I'm going to stand behind the counter, I'm going to give the workout, and then I'm going to go walk over here and just look at the clock.
Yeah.
I'm like, just go do something else.
Just get a different job.
Yeah.
Like you're giving everyone else a bad name.
There's so many jobs you could do.
Yeah.
I was a shitty trainer. I was a trainer before CrossFit even existed. I worked for Equinox.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I was the worst trainer in the world because I was only doing it to pay bills because it was like a waiting job. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to wait tables. I was an actor, comedian in New York City. And I was like, how can I make money? Well, it's pretty easy to get a job as a trainer. Yeah. I'll just go count for people. And literally I thought of it as like that. Like 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, 5 reps. Good job. Okay, put it down, pick it up. And I didn't. Every once in a while I'd get a client that I cared about. I'm like, oh, I'm seeing a difference. This is good. I'm making someone better. But for the most part, I was like, I'm getting $20 or I forget what it was. I think I got $20 a class. I didn't teach classes. I just individual. And Equinox was getting like 85, Yeah. And
Cool.
And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about these people.
Right.
And I should have been fired.
For sure.
I sucked.
For sure.
It was terrible.
For sure.
And and there was no oversight. No one was watching me. No one gave a shit. They didn't know how I was I mean, I can honestly say it was the worst run fitness program in the world. And Equinox, come at me. But fuck you. You run your training program horrendously.
Hey, maybe it's changed since. I'm guessing not, but maybe it's changed since.
No, I was a ski instructor. That's the only thing I can equate to like doing what you guys do is teaching classes. And there was way more to developing me as a teacher and getting me to teach people correctly. And I didn't even know what I was doing because I was there for free skiing. But whatever they did, they taught me to teach. Yeah, and I had it.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, some people are more naturally inclined to it, but it's definitely a skill. And like, if you're going to invest in anything as a CrossFit affiliate, anything, have it be the development of the coaches. Like, why would you invest in a nicer bathroom or nicer gear or a prettier floor or fucking towel service if you're delivering the shittiest product? Or call yourself something else. That's my favorite part. It's like, stop calling yourself CrossFit.
My argument to people, and this maybe you can understand this and agree with me. I always say, if I was a boxer, I wanted to be a boxer. I got a choice of the nicest boxing gym you've ever seen with the rings and the gloves and the bags and then, but like shitty coaching, or this guy that takes me to the park who's like Mickey from Rocky, who's the best coach in the world with the worst facilities. I want to be a good boxer. Yeah. You want to be a good boxer. I'm putting you in which one are you going to choose?
I'm going to choose the guy who's going to make me a better boxer.
Right.
Right. But there's people out there who want to be associated with the pretty gym and the pretty things.
Then
but those
you don't need them.
But that's my point is like, if you want to have that and that's going to be your priority, understand that that's the person you're going to be working with.
Yep.
And that's the person who's going to kind of control, hey, I don't think the workout should be this today. It should be this.
And those people are going to attract those people.
Yes.
So eliminate them. Let them go to the Equinox. I started to get frustrated when I saw CrossFit like start to explode, and I sometimes blame the games a little bit for this, in that gyms started going, oh wait, there's 35-pound kettlebells in this workout, and we need 2 of them. Okay, so that means we've got 20 people a class, so we need to buy 60 35-pound kettlebells. That's how we do everybody started going out and buying like crazy amounts of equipment. When I was like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about like, running up a hill with a sandbag on your back.
I mean, CrossFit, your CrossFit gear should be a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
Like, and mine was like a pair of shorts and Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing is it definitely has come a long ways. And there's a use for knee sleeves, and there's a use for wrist wraps, and there's a use for Oli shoes, and sure, that's fine. But like that should never come. And if you want to spend money and you like gear, like, fuck, man, I've got it all. Like, I love it. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, it's like those shouldn't be the things that allow you to work out.
No.
Like those are supplementary to it. And the second that becomes more important than you just coming in and moving and being more fit, then you've lost the boat. And the second that a gym promotes that, the second a gym starts selling stuff just to make money, like just to change their bottom line, like they've lost their soul. They're just trying to now either survive or do something to make money.
In comedy, we sell merch after shows, a lot of comedians. And the guys that sell T-shirts sometimes make more money selling T-shirts than they do doing their show.
Legit.
And their shirts are just so shitty. And I don't care if he fucking hears me say this one guy. I don't want to trash him, but just the shirt was just. My one friend had a funny shirt. It was a really funny shirt, and I give him credit for it. Pete Lee had a shirt that said, "You look fat when you cry," and I loved that shirt. It was really funny,
very funny.
And
some people might find it offensive. That's up to them.
And he made a fortune on this shirt. Yeah. But there's other guys with shitty puns on their shirt, and they become a shirt salesman, and half their act is about the shirt. And I'm just like, get out of here. Like, quit. You just shut up. Quit the fucking business and go sell T-shirts on the Venice Boardwalk. Like, and the only thing I sell after my show are my albums. I'm like, this is what I do. Yeah. This is what I'm good at. Here's more of me.
Right.
Like, this is all I'll give you. I'm not selling you a shirt or a mug or this or that. I'm not selling you a picture of me. You can take a picture with me, but here's this is what I create. And this is what you can have. It's more of what I create. Right. I'm not in the business. So I see how I'm a purist in comedy. You're sort of like a CrossFit purist saying, we don't need, like, do it for do
it to get fit. Like, do it to get more fit than you currently are. To live a better life. Like,
Ronnie Teasdale said something really funny once about, he's like, for a whole year, I might be misquoting his time or whatever, but he's like, for a whole year, I just worked out in whatever I was wearing.
Yeah.
Like if I showed up at with like,
I mean, for him it was jean shorts on every day. So
but he was like, I didn't want to make it about preparing to work out.
That's never what it was meant to be. It was to prep for life.
Yeah.
But it's fine that it's become that, but you just need to be able to sometimes step back and look and be like, I'm not going to wear knee sleeves every day. Yeah. I don't need this, or I don't need this. Like, and then it's, and if you're in that, that's totally fine. And it's fun. Like, I get it. Like, I get all the things that happen, but sometimes just take a little step back and see it. Like, but again, though, like, take what you were saying, you're not going to sell T-shirts afterwards. And I would argue that you and I both, with that mentality, would never be as large as someone who is willing to do that. We'll never have the same financial success, maybe, or we'll never have the same platform or the same following because we're unwilling to do stuff that goes against what we believe in.
Sure.
And I think that there's a certain level of whether it be moral ambiguity or just like an ability to bend your belief structure so that you're willing to sell your soul a little to get that level of fame.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I sell my soul sometimes. We all do.
We all do.
You make compromises. Exactly.
Yes.
And there are times, I mean, it's like when I take ads for the show, I always say, hey, I got to believe in this product. I have to believe in it, and I'll get the product, and 9 times out of 10, I will. But every once in a while, there's a product, and I'm just like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
And I've already contracted it, and I'm just like, I can't wait for these ads to wear out.
For sure.
Because I don't want to push this on the people that listen to the show because they know, I know, we both know, and I'm like, why did I end up doing this? And it's not worth it for me.
Right.
And so I should just, sometimes they catch me by surprise. They're like, hey, like the company that brings us ads, they're like, hey, you got this ad, and I'm like, fuck, I haven't even looked into this company. Right. And I'm like, oh no. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh, why did I take that? I got to get rid of this shit.
Right.
But for the most part, a lot of these guys have been unbelievable and have really good products.
Yeah.
But, and here I am bashing like they do have their place.
They 100% have their place.
But when you're over at your in-laws' house and they're like, hey, can you move this refrigerator? You don't go, hold on. I need to put on my knee sleeves,
my belt,
my wrist wraps.
Yeah.
I got to take my nootropics and get prepare for that. Let me do a warm up.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
No, you just
So that's kind of what I saw CrossFit was like, you show up at the gym, and you're just fucking ready to go. And it's like,
yeah. And I think the interesting thing about CrossFit is I mean, we were talking about this earlier. You made the offhanded comment like, oh, such and such hurt their back doing CrossFit. And for me, I always find those such funny statements because it's like a tool, right? You can use a tool poorly and it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, oh, he hurt himself hammering.
Yeah.
You know, it was the hammer's fault.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it was the carpenter's fault.
Yeah, but I meant it like, and I could give that argument for an hour. I meant it like if I said, oh, he hurt his back surfing.
Right.
He hurt his back. It's a sport. It's a physical endeavor. You can hurt yourself just like you can in anything else.
100%.
Yeah.
But I think what happens is people will associate that level of like, this did this, right? Yeah. And it's like, no. This didn't do this.
Yeah.
The individual takes ownership over what they did in that situation, and maybe it was a little stupid, or maybe it was a little too much, or maybe it was this, and it's like, that went wrong.
There was a mentality, though, that I believe in CrossFit. I was susceptible to it that, you know, and I don't believe it was handed down by CrossFit. I think it was just a cultural evolution where people were like, oh my God, I'm getting invincible. I want to do more. I want to work out 2-3 times a day. I want to put knee sleeves on and do the outlaw way. And I want to, you know.
And how did that pan out for everyone?
And then everybody's hurt.
Oh shit.
Because.
And was that CrossFit?
But no, it wasn't. You're right. But it was under the umbrella of CrossFit.
For sure. And that's why I get kind of like, it makes me laugh when someone says they hurt themselves doing CrossFit. I'm like, what iteration are you talking about?
Yeah.
And what did they mean? Because every time one of my members came up to me at my facility and was like, oh, I want to do this, I'd go, why?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, well, I want to get more fit. I'm like, you're going to get more fit doing what I'm telling you to do. And they'd be like, well, I want to do this. I'd be like, but why? And they'd be like, well, because I want to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I'm going to help you achieve X, Y, and Z faster than this is going to. And if they trusted me, they stayed. If they didn't, they'd leave.
Yeah.
And it never came from my facility of like, everyone here got hurt. You know, it was like, sure, we had injuries in our facility. Sure, we had all this stuff. Because that's the nature, like you said. When you're doing anything physical, you can step off a curb and roll your ankle. Like, yes, there's risk to being alive. Like,
yeah.
But no, not even close to that of something that's a spontaneous sport like surfing or like playing racquetball or all these other things that people are like, no, that shit's dangerous.
I didn't even surf today, and I practically got killed. I went for one wave, like at the end of the day, and the next thing I know, I'm like, where is that set coming from?
Oh, it was fun.
And it just came down in front of me and just smacked. I mean, those sets were like 3 or 4 waves. That set was like
7.
12. It was just, I was like,
wore a lot on the head.
I was like, am I duck diving under another one of these giant? And the more I got washed in, the more they were walling up.
Yeah. And I was like right in front of you, and I was like, I'm in a pretty bad spot. I sure hope no one's behind. Oh, there he is. Well, good thing I took Eddie here. I hope I don't kill him.
I actually enjoyed it, though. It was a fun beating.
Good.
It was like...
but you see, you're sick, and I think that mentality plays really well into somebody who enjoys high-intensity training.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're a little sick to where you're like, wow, that was really difficult. And I say sick in the best possible way. Like, people who can face adversity and come out smiling, like, that's how you live a better life. Like, if you can take something that's pretty lame, and in all honesty, most CrossFit workouts suck. Like, you're not midway through being like, this is great.
No.
It's everything around it that's so awesome. The community, the culture, the people, the physical gains that you get, the adaptations that come from it. That's all cool. CrossFit sucks.
Yeah.
Like, everybody who's done it for any period of time knows. And there's a psychology to approaching things that you suck at.
Yeah.
And if you can either build that as an individual or have that naturally, you're far more suited to live a happy life.
Yeah.
Because life doesn't give you what you want.
It's that whole thing about safe spaces. They go, there aren't going to be safe spaces when you're older, so you need to prepare. Like, life's not going to be easy.
Right.
We're all going to die. We all die in horrific, horrible ways, and there's going to be illness and death and suffering. And so CrossFit teaches you how to suffer.
For sure.
And it's great. It's funny. My wife, if she ever heard me say this, she would kill me. But my wife has led a pretty pampered life, and when she had kids, it was really hard for her. Like the whole pregnancy thing. And I can't say because I'm not a woman and I don't know, but I watched her go through it, and a little bit of me was like, "This is good for you because you're growing." And 100%. I saw her grow too much. Like, she became fucking too tough.
Yeah.
Like, she went from being like a real softie to like nothing fucking bothers me. I'm like, okay, can you soften up a little? I mean, the kids, this kid's really calloused to you. And I don't know if she's PTSDing or what it is, but
I laugh, but that's serious.
But it's funny. I've never thought of that before. CrossFit, the suffering prepares you for life.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like a practice for all the, and I've said that, like, my little daughter, I might have mentioned this last week on the podcast, asked me why I ran this she's like, why did you run that race? What was it for? And I said to teach you never to quit. I go, Daddy didn't quit. I ran the whole thing, and I go, you can't quit at things. If you decide you're going to do it. And I felt like part of me was like, I can't quit because my kids then will know that you can't, that's an option, and it shouldn't be an option.
Right.
And I think I say to my wife all the time, let them do this. Let them have adversity. Yeah. Just give them as much adversity as possible. It's just going to make them stronger and better.
For sure.
That's how you polish it. You polish a diamond. You make it. You got to let this happen. So
yeah. It doesn't mean beat the shit out of something and never show it love. It doesn't mean, even in CrossFit. Yeah, every day's suffering, but it's not suffering like that. And there's days where it's slower, and you go in heavy lift days, and like you can't give it 100% every day. If you did, you'd burn out. You come in, and some days they're more like recovery days, and there are days where you go slower, and naturally the way workouts program, if they're done well, you're not just thrashing yourself every day. If you do it poorly, you're definitely just thrashing yourself every day.
And look, if the level you were at competitively, you are thrashing yourself. I mean, that's a tough level. But I think
competitive sport is hard to compare to normal sport. It's like, you ride a bike? Cool. You're on the Tour de France? No. Those are very different things.
I agree.
And so, like, it's like to say that bike riding is way too gnarly is like, well, you screwed up if you're trying to be Lance out here.
I love Santa
Cruz. That guy right there riding by on his little beater.
I love Santa Cruz.
But yeah, I think the level of sport we were at with CrossFit competition was for sure. It was unhealthy to a certain degree, physically as well.
You're famous for that Tahoe thing. That's talked about. People, I ask people to, and I should read them, but I ask them to ask you questions, and I think that was mentioned a few times. But when they said, how many times do you work out a day? And raise your hand. And how many? One, everybody. Twice. And some people raise their hand. And then 3 times. And when people raise their hand and you go, what?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Why would you do that? Like, do you have no other meaning in life? Like, this is supposed to supplement everything else. And here, let me rephrase that. There are people who this is all consuming, right?
Yeah.
It has the same addictive quality as something that releases any endorphins in your brain, right?
Sure.
So if you're addictive by nature and you find something that releases this for you, you're going to do it over and over again. I'm not addictive by nature. Like, I do it. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. I'm not going to do it again because that shit hurts, you know? Like, and
Froning told me. Froning said
he's a full-on addict.
That's what he told me. He said, I know that if I didn't have this, there's a possibility of something else.
100%.
And that I have an addictive personality and that I have an addiction to that, to working out, to exercising.
If you know that's you and you're filling it with this, fantastic. Think about the other things that could be there.
I agree.
Now, if you then hurt yourself doing this and then say that this is what hurt you, you're a fucking idiot.
I get your point.
And that's what I'm seeing a lot right now is people who were in the space as high-level competitors who did a ton of stuff, and then they get hurt and they're like, well, the program hurt me. I'm like, you're a moron. Own your shit. Grow up and be an adult and be like, I hurt myself.
Well, that would be the definition of addiction. It's like you can do anything. As soon as it starts becoming detrimental to your life, then it's a bad addiction.
Right.
I heard a comedian one time. He was like a no-name, but I don't want to take credit for the joke because it was his joke. And when I say no-name, I don't mean he was just
actually has no name.
No, I feel bad. He was like a open micer, very funny kid though. And he said, how come if you're, gambling's the only thing that if you're good at it, you're a professional. If you're bad at it, you're an addict.
That's a keen observation on the world.
Yeah, and it was a really good observation.
But it's not the only thing. There's many things. CrossFit would be a fantastic example.
No one calls anybody an addict in CrossFit.
I do. I do. I see the people who are not getting paid to do it, who train like they're getting paid to do it, those are addicts. And I see them.
If it's affecting their lifestyle.
100%.
If it's hurting them physically. Like
100%.
I have a very good friend who was a guest on this show who, and he'll be the first to say it. He was a drug and alcohol addict, got rid of that, put it into exercise, started doing every kind of exercise competition you could do to fill that void. And now he's having surgery after surgery after surgery. Right. And
does he own it?
Yeah.
Does he say, like, this was me? I did this.
He's now saying, my new motto in life is moderation, and don't be crazy, and all this stuff. And I also wonder, like, how much is it affecting your family life? Like, are you taking away from your family because you're in the gym 3 times a day and not making any money from it? Right. If you're a professional and that's how you're making your living, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it if that's how you provide for your family. But that's very few people.
100%.
So I've always been highly I mean, the whole time I've watched this whole thing evolve and gone, this is fucking batshit crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Batshit crazy.
Oh, yeah. I think it's even more strange to me the people who are not high-level competitors, never had a background in programming, get famous on some social platform for the way they look, and then start putting out some sort of program. And I'm like, what? Like, what? And then people buy it. And I get it, but it's just like, it's so confusing to me because to me, any rational person, I think a lot of decisions are made through emotion, not rational. They'll look at someone, they'll be like, I want to be that. What are they doing? They're selling this. I'll get it. And it's like, I've never been that person. I've always looked at most marketing and been like, why would you let that go through your marketing team and then go out onto the TV or the Instagram account or whatever it is? But it's so fascinating to me, and it breaks my heart to see these, like...
See, I'm a little bit in between both of them with you. I will look at it and go, wow, you could do that, and you could... And then I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. Right. I don't want to do... But I look at it initially and go, wow, you can make a lot of money doing that, yeah. And I need to make more money. We all need to make more money, and I'm like, I could... And then I go, I don't want to do that. Like, that's just, and then I talk myself down from that.
Right.
Where other people are just like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And I just had a guy beating me up about my social media. And you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I'm like, no, I don't. I go, I don't need to do, and they were like, you need to post this many, this day and do it consistently and tag this and tag that. And I said, and they go, that's the only way you're going to survive in this business. And I said, you know how I'm going to survive? I'm going to kind of get off social media. I'm giving my managers all my clips, like all my videos. They can post them for me. They can tag them. They can do that, and I'll pay them. Mm-hmm. I can't let that consume my life.
Yeah. I mean,
because Instagram, social media, all it does is make me unhappy.
Right, and that's a very real thing for you. But imagine if you... I think what's interesting is you and I are both talking from a very privileged place of having a relatively decent level of security. I mean, I say that in the sense that I own my own business. You own your own business. Yeah. It could all go belly up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, we could have nothing tomorrow. We're not working for somebody else. It's like, literally, I could lose everything that I have tomorrow. But right now, I don't need to make a decision from a place of scarcity. Mm-hmm. I can make a decision that's literally just goes with my moral compass and like, I believe this is the right thing to do. I'm going to make this. And I think that's a very privileged place to think from. It's great that we're here, but it's also like...
You've always been there, though. Like, you've always been self-made, correct?
Correct.
So I think the problem is some people choose that route of working for somebody that they are accountable to, that they provides them with all their income, all their health care, all their this, and then there is the fear of losing that, where if everything was taken from me tomorrow, I just start again.
Right.
I'm like,
that's for me. I'm always like,
I've been here before.
Well, I could go coach at any gym in the country.
Yeah.
I could go run I could start a facility.
Yeah.
Like, I know how to do that. It's like,
I could do a million things.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't have that fear. And I think a lot of people live in total fear of what if the bottom falls out?
Right.
And I'm like, it'd be a new challenge.
Yeah.
It'd just be a new fucking craziness to my life.
Do you place that into like your upbringing, or is that...
No, because my family is my dad sells insurance, and it's all about don't take risk, have everything secure. My whole family lives in fear. They don't like to leave. They all live still in...
Well, don't you think like as I mean, when you look at how you raised, either you directly rebel against what your family did, or you embrace it like subconsciously. So it's like for you, it's like you've seen that and been like, I don't want that.
Yeah, but it's funny. I'm one of the only ones in the family. Like there's, you know, 2 parents, 5 kids, and I'm really the only one. My one sister went to New York and kind of took some serious risk. But the rest of them, it's just like they live down the street from my parents and belong to the same clubs.
Love you, bros.
I do love them, but there is this. When I do stuff, they're like, "Oh my God, you're going where? You're doing what? Why would you do?"
Right.
The amount of risk I take, they're like, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't ever do that." And I'm like, if I listen to you guys,
then I wouldn't be towed into Jaws.
A guy told me, Jerry Red Wilson, he's dead now. He had a sitcom for a while. He was driving me back from a gig once, and he's I had just started stand-up. I was in like a year, and my parents were just so upset with me. And he said, "How's it all going?" I said, "Oh, it's, struggling. I'm trying. I love it." And I said, "My parents aren't happy." And I go, "They really don't like me doing this." And he goes, "Dude, if it were up to parents, there'd be no artists." He goes, "This world would just be a bunch of accountants. Your parents want you to be safe. And they want you to do the safest thing possible because they love you." He goes, "You can't always listen to your parents." And I was like, wow. And then he died 2 weeks later.
Oh.
He did. He got spinal meningitis on an airplane. Or they told him not to fly, and he still got on the plane to Hawaii and
whoa.
Yeah, fucked.
Whoa.
Yeah, but
heavy.
Yeah, so let that be a lesson. You don't take advice from Jerry Red Wilson.
Yeah.
Or you'll be in a park in Santa Cruz looking like a pedophile.
But happy.
Yeah. There's so much more, though. I love your whole evolution because I remember watching you all the time when you were in the games. What was your best finish?
I finished 4th, but it was
pretty fucking awesome.
I'll take it, man. That was the first games I was ever in. That was,
what year?
That was 2008.
Okay, so
it was old.
Yeah, so Tommy was 2009, I believe.
Tommy came in 2009.
And he was second that year?
He came second that year, yeah.
Who won 8?
That was the year that Jason Kalipa won.
Okay.
So
he won. You got 4th.
Josh Everett got...
Josh Everett. I haven't heard his name.
Josh Everett got second.
And then who was third?
Jeremy Teal.
Jeez, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. 2000. That's right about when I first got into it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit before that. Maybe 7 or... I can't even remember anymore.
Yeah.
Then the next year, how'd you do?
Next year is the year I met my wife. I got, I think, like 35th.
So you were partying. You were having fun.
I was, I was...
You just weren't into it
give
as
a
much.
Shit
Yeah.
About what was going on there. Yeah. I mean, I loved the fact that I was doing it, and you can watch the videos from it. But it's like I was madly head over heels for someone who was not my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was in the games that year.
She was in the games that year. Yeah.
And how did she finish?
I think she finished like 28th or something like that.
So she wasn't as into you as you were.
Well,
she did
that's
better.
Been from day one. Let's be honest here. Anybody who's met my wife will be like, "How did you? What?
But your wife, what made her so good? Because she's not one of these bigger, stronger girls.
She was a sprint kayaker. So she was a longtime swimmer, sprint kayaker, played field hockey.
Okay.
So she had, what's unique about sprint kayaking is there's a lot of upper body pull. Mm-hmm. And for women, that was one of the weaker skills for a lot of high level women. So she came in to CrossFit being able to do strict muscle ups, like as a woman.
Wow.
And in 2009,
no one could do it.
That's not what so when it ever came to anything pulling, and endurance, she was fantastic, and she was relatively strong, but not compared to a lot of the strength athletes.
That's back when Amanda Allen was really good.
Allen was really good. Who else was really good?
Those were all people that came from other sports, and if they were good in another sport, they pretty much figured out CrossFit, and then CrossFit. You had to be a CrossFitter.
Yeah, and I think what was interesting is all those people had some time to adapt to what the systems were, and they did it slower. And I think what's happening now is people are seeing what the top guys are doing and jumping right into that, and then just dying off left and right, because it takes a progressive adaptation to become at the top level.
Yep.
So you have to be like, okay, I want to be a good CrossFitter. Let's talk about 7 years from now.
Yep.
It can't be, I want to be a good CrossFitter, I'm going to go to the games in 3 years. Unless you've already been, you're a genetic specimen and you really strictly ran.
And it's going to be like gymnastics where you can't just start doing gymnastics and be good at gymnastics.
Right.
They were kids that started.
There'll be some unique individuals who can, but very few.
Not many. We're going to see all these kids that are in the younger games that we don't pay any attention to, which I think you should. Right. I also think the Masters that's a whole other argument, but people really need to pay attention to the Masters if they stop. Because
they're old, man.
I know, but if I would like to see them perform at that level without using, and I'm not saying they all do, but there's a lot of performance enhancing drugs in the upper level of the Masters because it's so difficult.
Right.
And what I'm saying is those guys have made it that far in this sport. That's the ultimate proof of how good CrossFit is.
For sure.
So I'd love to see, if anything was natural, that.
Yeah.
What can you do when you're that old?
Totally.
And
I think like a guy like Matt Swift is a fantastic example of that. Has his ups and downs over the years, but wins his division when he goes and competes.
Yeah.
And he's like, homeboy is the cleanest. That guy won't even have a drink.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are clean. There's a lot of guys that are clean, and there's a lot of guys that we don't even know. But back to these kids that are so good, and they're getting.
It's fast as long as they don't get burnt out, and that's the thing. Is like any child sport, like I feel like there's a really high propensity to burn out.
But if you pick it up when you're like 16 or 17,
I think
by the time you're 24, you're going to be awesome.
Yeah, as long as you let your body adapt, as long as you don't just jump into I'm doing games volume every day.
But that's who's going to be the winners.
That's my thought. Yeah.
In 2, 3, 4 years from now, it's all kids who started when they were 16, 17, 18, like a high school sport.
I hope so.
And it's going to be like that. It's going to be like just like football, just like basketball. You can't just pick it up and be. Yeah. So your wife, you met her what year?
2009.
2009.
And then I went out to New Zealand.
I remember when you went. It was funny. Everyone was like, what's he doing? Where's he going? Like, all of a sudden, these videos would show up of you in New Zealand.
It was super cool. Like, I went out there. I gained 30 pounds.
Did you then get into the games from New Zealand?
I did. I won the Australia region.
That's awesome.
So that was a fun year. So 2009 was cool. 2010, I went. I competed on teams for New Zealand.
There are some good athletes out of that region too. The Hobarts, or not the Hobarts. The who are the guys from Melbourne, Australia? There's two brothers.
What's his name? Chris
Hogan.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Those guys were awesome.
Dude, he got second the year that I got first, or maybe he got third. And Rob Forte is me.
Oh, Rob Forte.
Me, Forte, and Chris were the three who qualified from the region.
Rob Forte was a big dude.
No. You're thinking of Rob. You're thinking of red-haired Rob. Rob.
Not Big Bobby D.
Big Bobby D.
Oh, he's a guy that. I've had him on here. He programs out of. He's raw. He programs.
Yeah, that's Rob. That's Big Bobby D. He competed as an individual.
Did he really?
Like that guy's got an interesting story.
Oh my god.
That guy of the year. I don't know what your conversation with him was like. I've barely met him. But when I was out in New Zealand, the year that I got second in the region. I won the region at regionals, but in the open, I think I got second or third. I was high, but I didn't win. And the guy who beat me was Big Bobby D.
He's a monster.
But he beat me in the open. He was 10th or 7th in the world that year in the open. And I was like, I'm looking at this guy's videos being like, this guy's a unit. Yeah. How the hell am I going to compete against this? Yeah. And he didn't show up for regionals. He showed up. He showed up on a team
because he was because he was special forces.
No, he showed up on a team. He showed up at regionals, but he's like, no, I'm going to go team. But his numbers were insane. One of those ones. But then, so I won that year, and then at the games I got 8th. In 2000.
That's pretty awesome coming out of, but that's when it started to get pretty sticky because you were in a pretty tough region here.
When I was here,
NorCal was a pretty tough region.
It became a tough region when I moved out there.
Right.
So when I moved out there, that became a tough region, and I actually ended up moving back to here into that region. So in 2011, I got at the games I got 8th, and then I came back here in 2012 to run those gyms. And then,
still qualified.
That year I didn't qualify.
Oh, okay.
So that year I was 4 days out before regionals and my appendix burst.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, my stomach hurts. And I was trying to coach classes. And this guy who I was coaching, he was like, man, you don't look so good. I kind of look like that when my appendix burst. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, I'll be fine. I just got gas or something. And then all of a sudden it just laid me out and like bent over and rushed to the hospital and had my appendix removed. So that was brutal. And then, so I didn't get to compete that year, which would have been a fantastic year for me. That was a cool year.
Were you in good shape moving into
I
that?
was very good shape moving into that year. That was one of my best years because it was the first time I'd added like some serious volume, like lifting volume. I'd always been a little bit weaker, but that year I got a lot stronger, and I wasn't overworked from the amount of total volume that I was doing. It was just like this sweet spot of a year. I would have had a lot of fun.
What do you think caused your appendix problem?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just random.
I think it's partially genetic. Both my brother and my mom have both had their appendix rupture, and so they say that it could be slightly genetic, but they don't really know. But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Then in 2013 was when I missed qualifying to Marcus Philly. So Marcus Philly beat me in.
You mean Marcus, the best built man in the world, Philly?
Yeah, it's called genetics.
Oh my
once
god!
Again.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I mean, Marcus is a great dude, and he's super nice.
I
Have you
know.
met him?
You know, I talked to him over email once, and he was super polite.
He's super polite.
Yeah,
and
but I watch his videos, and I always say. It's funny, I fuck with people when they're like, what's CrossFit? And I'm like, most people are all about aesthetics. And they're like, oh, I'm working out, I'm trying to look better, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
cool.
Look what CrossFit does. This is what all CrossFitters look like. And I show them Marcus Philly,
and you're like,
they're like, what the fuck?
And then he goes out and releases functional bodybuilding, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I can't use that anymore. But no, Marcus is a good dude. He's also really smart.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's made a fantastic name for himself.
Yeah.
He's doing good things, but fucker beat me by one clean. Like,
wow.
Literally one clean. I mean, it was the rest of the event I should have done better in certain events, but it comes down to the last workout. It's a rope climb full clean workout. So it was like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rope climbs and 225 cleans. So you do the 5 clean rope climbs, run over 5 cleans, run back 5, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. So it's a sprint. It's right up my alley, and I'm ahead of him the whole way. Like we're neck and neck, and then I just pulled ahead because I'm fast at rope climbs, and I got over to the final set of cleans because I think it went 5, 4, 3, 2, not 1, and I do the first clean, bam, stand it up, drop, and I do the second clean. And I just rushed it because he was behind me and I didn't see what he was doing. I was like, I gotta get this finished. If I get this finished, I win this workout. And so I get under it and just get squirted out the back.
Oh.
And I didn't know how close it was. And then I stand up, I clean it, and then walk across the line. And what had happened was I needed 2 people to beat Marcus. And I cleaned it, got squirted out, and right as I got squirted out, I was standing there shaking out. You see Garrett Fisher stand up, walk in. You see Neil Maddox stand up, walk in. And then you see, Marcus Philly stand up and walk in. So had I just stood that clean up, walked across the line, I would have beat him and gone to the games. And I was like, because I didn't know how close it was. And then they showed a clip of it.
Oh, that would have been
holy
annoying.
Shit. But that year they had the marathon.
That's what David Goggins would have said. You weren't running your own race. David Goggins is all about you can't run the other person's race. You got to run your own race. I had a track coach or a gun guy. Yeah. There was a gun guy who, when I was young, I think it was like it was when I was in like track club. Other than high school, I would go to these like AAU events and Junior Olympics. And this guy just took a liking to me, and he was an Olympic starter. And he said to me, he's like, you have potential to be great. He goes, you're running everyone else's race. He's like, you're competing. He's like, you're looking out of the corner of your eyes. You know where everyone is. He goes, he goes, at the end of the day, it's all about your time. He's like, just run for that time. He goes, stop running other people. It was the best advice I ever got. He's like, pretend like you're a horse and you have blinders on. Right. And I think with CrossFit, so many people make that mistake.
Oh, 100%.
Hunter did it.
Oh, yeah.
Where if you do it with blinders and you're just like, I'm going to perform as efficiently, as fast as possible to get where I'm going, you're going to do it effectively. Whereas,
well, you're going to do it better.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the interesting things is it's almost like tiered for me. When I see people who just start, all they know how to do is hit the wall. Like they just bam, bam, they die and they die and they die. And I was the same. Like first 3 weeks I did CrossFit, it was actually longer than that, but I'd go in and I'd vomit every session. Like I had no ability to pull it back. Like genuinely every day. I'm going in and going so hard that I vomit. Like, think about the psychosis that's required to like, oh, I'm there? Just keep going! You know, you have, like, and so I had to learn to pull back. A lot of people need to, like, push a little harder. But, so once I reined that in, then I started to, like, figure out this energy management system, right? And then what happens is you get in competition and you start playing, like you said, inexperienced competitors will play other people's games and they'll burn their own energy system out.
Yeah.
And so what you then need to do is when you start competing, you have to be able to, your main focus is monitoring your energy system, working just below the threshold of your own burnout to where you have a little bit to push in the end. Mm-hmm. And then when you get to the furthest level, like the Rich Fronings and those guys, you know that your energy system is better than everybody else's. So you're at a physical place where you can do that, and then you can start fucking with the people around you by pushing in different places. Like, I'm going to go really fast here so that I make this doofus who's next to me follow me for 10 reps because I know his psychology, and then when he gasses, then I'm going to turn it on again. Yeah. And I think that that's what makes guys like Matt Frazier and Rich Froning so deadly is like, you look at Noah. Noah's a specimen, but he cannot play that game. Yeah. And he plays other people's games all the time. Same thing with a guy like Jason Khalipa. Like, they always play other people's games. Right. And they happen to be very, very fit, but they're not playing their game.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then on that higher level, you've got these guys who are so good that they can make you play their game.
Yeah, it was the Lance Armstrong thing.
Yeah,
he did that.
Exactly.
He used to do that to guys. They said when he would ride past guys on the hills, he would smile. Meanwhile, he's in total pain. He said this. Yeah. He said, I would smile and fake that I was so happy at that point because it would demoralize them mentally where they would go, wait, he's just got so much more in the tank. He goes, I had nothing. But if I smile, I'd psychologically fuck with them. Oh, yeah. It's like, do you ever get in a running race just like when you're out and you're not even like going for a jog and there's other people jogging around you and there's someone you're like behind. You're behind, and you're behind them for like a mile. And then all of a sudden you're like, fuck this, I'm going to go around them. Yeah. So you got to speed up. You pass them and then they fall back.
Yeah.
Because you're exhausted, but you fucked with their head. Oh, yeah. And now they're like, how'd that guy pass me? And they just peel off and like they just slow back because you messed with their head.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse of driving and passing someone in a car. Okay, there's a passing lane. Might as well speed up. Yeah. You know, like the fucking asshole has been slow the whole time.
But the gaming it, like for you guys, I always thought like you can't game it because there's so much.
No, like you're looking. Totally game it.
Well, that's kind of what CrossFit was created. The whiteboard and everything to force you to work harder.
Yeah.
Was you're in this competition.
That was Greg's quote.
What did he say?
Men will die for points. Like, he was like, it's pretty easy. You create a game for it. Men will die for points. And I'm like, that is some powerful insight, and it is very true.
Somebody needs to write a really good book about him to really get into his head.
He's got so many one-liners that are just like, holy shit.
Yeah, but I always wonder, where are they coming from? Did he get those? Did he?
That's who he is. Like that.
Did he aggregate them from somewhere else, or are they his?
I mean, think about like a good comedian who like practices stuff and like sees how it goes, but then can just deliver it in a way that it sounds like you've never heard of it.
But we write our own shit. Like, is he writing that shit? Is that
down? I think it's just all here.
I mean, but like, is he coming up with that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I mean, you look at some of the verbiage from the level one. It's like, the Olympic lifts directly contain the seeds of their worth, and you're like, what? The complexity of the Olympic lifts directly contains the seeds of its worth.
Where's he thinking of this shit? He must smoke so much weed. He must. He has to.
I have no idea.
He has to.
I have no idea.
Because that creativeness comes from something like that. Look, I'm not the biggest, like, I think Greg Glassman's great because he created CrossFit, but when I meet guys like you, Zach, a lot of my friends that have been close to him and have seen what he does, they're like disciples. They're like, you don't understand, Eddie, this guy, blah, blah, blah.
He's gnarly, man.
And I don't think, I saw him speak once, and I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't that impressed.
Right.
And I don't know if he was just off his game or he didn't care or whatever it was. I was hearing a lot of what I've heard or seen in videos, so I wasn't like blown away. But I'm blown away by the way he passes in information and it's like evangelical. Yeah. What he says, people are like, holy fuck. And then they say it and they believe in it. And they're able to, like you said, you went in and the media, there were 200 people the next time you went. Totally. People are going to this for a reason.
Right.
I'm doing the show because somehow people have been attracted to this. This guy has something special.
Yeah.
Like my friend married Howard Stern, and everybody used to say, "Oh, what, Beth, she's this gorgeous model. Look at Howard." And I'm like, "Look at Howard.
Yeah.
He has millions of followers.
Oh, yeah.
The guy is a genius. Somehow he's a magnet to people. That's a very attractive quality." So Glassman to me is so impressive the way he's created. It's not like, oh, this guy's a scam artist or this guy. It's like, no, this guy has something super special about him. And so I'm just like, what is it? How do you tap in? Where did this guy find this? And I wish somebody would do a good book on him.
Well, I think his is not necessarily his. I mean, I don't know where this will ever go, but like, I don't think his is how he treats the people who are around him. It has very little to do with that. I think it's just like the profound simplicity of some of his words are one of those things that you hear once and you're like, huh, and then you like think about it more and you're like, oh, and then you unpack it more and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how did you think of that? Like if you think about, one of his big things was equating health and fitness. They were for a long time two separate things, right? Fitness was this gym thing, and health was like the ability to not be sick. And if you looked at the definition of fitness, it was described as the state of being fit. And if you looked at the definition of health, it's the absence of disease. And like those are two very different things, right? And he, in his mind, ended up creating the definition for fitness, which is work capacity across broad time modal domains, your ability to output power across.
Who fucking thinks of that?
Right. Well, and then he's like, and then to then be like, okay, then what does that mean? Can you output power as a human across any activity in any time frame? That's amazing, right? And then he sits on this for a while, and then he's like, there's got to be some connection between this and fitness, and he's like, or between this and health, and he's like, well, your ability to do whatever you want at whatever capacity throughout in any time frame throughout the course of your life, that's health. Yeah. Health is your ability to live independently of other people and perform at whatever capacity you want for the rest of your life. Like, take this absence of disease bullshit away, and yeah, sure, have no disease, but true health is being able to live independently of other people and do whatever the hell you want for the entirety of your life.
Sure.
And that's when he was like, okay, we're going to now link these two previously unlinked things, fitness and health.
Okay, a guy, and I've asked this a million times, and most people can't answer it, but here's a guy, and I honestly wanted to ask him this when I was at Pepperdine. I wanted to say to him, you are a guru. You've defined this thing, you've created this entity, you've inspired millions of people to work out all over the world, you have a movement, why, and I know it's been asked of him, and I know what his response has been, but why aren't you following your, you're talking the talk, you're not walking the walk. And I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I feel like he could even be, look how fast that fucking dog is. It's like a greyhound or something. We're like now in a dog park.
Yeah.
He could almost take it to the next level, because here is a guy like, I love Mark Sisson. You look at Mark Sisson and you look at like, this guy preaches health all day long, and you look at him and you're like, when I'm his age, I want to fucking look like Mark Sisson. Right. Whatever he's doing is right. It could be genetics. A lot of it could be whatever it is.
He also makes good decisions.
And we also don't know what his insides are like, but I'm pretty sure he's pretty pure.
He's actually put those out. His blood markers are
fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Mark Sisson's pretty damn healthy.
Mark Sisson is like
the epitome of what we want to be as old people.
Right.
Yes.
So you look at Mark Sisson and you're like, what he's doing is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Where Greg Glassman is going, you all need to do this.
No, he's actually not. He's saying this is what this is. That's the difference. Greg's not saying you all need to do this. He's saying this is what CrossFit is. This is what I believe. Mm-hmm. He's not saying I do this.
So why doesn't he do it?
I think for years he did, and it just became such a far back seat in his life that he just doesn't do it. And
I'm sure he has an answer for it. And I've it's weird. I've doing this for 8 years or whatever. I still have not sat down with him. I need to call and make it. He's not here because he's always. I was in Oregon. He was supposedly there. He's always down in Malibu.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in San Diego anymore. I don't know. The guy's got houses all over the world.
He does. Yes, he does.
I had his wife on. I had ex-wife, Lauren Janai.
You had Lauren on.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That was interesting.
I knew Lauren well.
Yeah.
Did you see the most recent article with her?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, prison?
Yeah.
Okay. You love him.
Yeah.
All right.
She married a guy who I think he is in prison for
murder.
Murder.
Yeah.
And the way I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. So let's just say, like in the divorce paradigm, she got half of CrossFit, half of. So she got half of CrossFit. Now, if something happens to her, this murderer in prison gets a quarter of CrossFit.
Right. It's like, No, Greg is the sole owner now.
Okay.
Before you're like,
No, but what I mean is the money from CrossFit that, he had to give her half.
Now he's
and then, if something would happen to her,
right.
He would get that half.
Right.
So then this guy
random murder in prison
ends up with
it's like again, you and I are literally sitting on a bench in a park laughing about this, but at the same time it's like I looked at it and was like, I see nothing that makes sense here. But can't make sense of love, man. Like it's a funny one. And again, I think Greg does train when he can. I just don't think he's by any means at the place where he's following.
Would it be funny if he went into hiding for a couple years and then came out and he's at the games competing?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
And they're like, I think he had an injury though. I think there was like a bicycle accident or something that he was injured and he's got something that makes it difficult.
In his hip and his knee and, But at the same time, that doesn't excuse you from doing fitness.
But
it's also I think for him,
Bill Belichick's not going to be able to play football.
Right.
And he's the best coach that there's ever been.
Right.
So,
but I think there's something to be said for like, just because you know the right answer doesn't mean you can do it.
Yeah, some people can do, some people can coach. Is he? But he's not
he's a cyclist. He cycles all the time.
But they're right up the hill. The headquarters still is here, right?
Yes, down in Scotts Valley.
Yeah, and do they? But it's like really been
cut down quite a bit.
Yeah,
it's very very few people who are there anymore.
And
do you run classes there though?
They do.
They open it as a. For the underprivileged population, so they have.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and let me give you a definition for underprivileged. It's for people who are the least likely person you'd find in a CrossFit facility. So really, really sick, or really, really overweight, or just like people who don't have the funds, and it's like they have these classes. Oh,
that's
really,
great.
Really, really old, and they run free classes for that demographic. And
that's great. I'd like to see CrossFit do more of that, kind of like the Tom shoe kind of thing, where for every shoe they sell, they give a shoe, or for every class they run a class for people that can't. That I have a feeling eventually those people that you coach are going to be able to pay.
100%.
Yeah. So. More of that. I'd like to see more and more of that because
any individual gym can do exactly that.
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of being an affiliate versus a franchise.
Oh yeah, interesting. All right, let me see. Let me just go rip through because it's getting fucking cold. The sun just went down. I'm taking you away from your kids today. I feel terrible.
It's my birthday.
It is well.
So 2 days before my birthday. This is my birthday present.
All right, let me see. Where were the questions? We had a bunch. All the regulars chimed in. I can't believe you've never been on the show.
Yeah. No, I don't think you and I have ever met in passing.
It's really weird because I don't want to get all gay on you, but of all the CrossFitters I've met, you're the one I relate to the most. You surf. You're the same mentality about it. I'm like, this is my new fucking best friend.
Yeah, but when you got two same magnets with the same polarity, they push against each other.
But I never would have seen you and gone, hey, that's it. There's a couple guys out there, and I'm friends with them now, but it's just, we're just very different.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of guys in CrossFit that I'm just like, hey, you're too fucking into this. It's all you do. And
I'm probably the oldest in it that you've talked to, too. Not the oldest age-wise, but I've been in CrossFit for 16 years.
Duffy gave her on here. Duffy went to the original with, what's his name, Greg Amundsen.
Yeah.
He was at the original cert.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The very first one?
Yeah, and Duffy is he's like Brad Pitt's trainer.
Oh, wow.
And he's just a Hollywood trainer. He's a former Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Really good dude.
Yeah.
And
Greg Amundsen's gym's right there.
Is it really?
Yeah. CrossFit Amundsen is the end of this road right here.
I did not know that. Yeah, Greg, one of the sweetest, nicest guys in the world. But I am so anti-religion, and he was talking religion on the podcast, and I was like,
that's his entire life.
I was like, dude, I'm zoning out on you. I just can't. I can't even play this game. I grew up in the church, and I can't can't go there.
Yeah.
And he was so nice that I was like, I couldn't shit on him.
Right.
And he's also big and scary and
He
has
is
lots of
definitely,
guns.
and could murder you.
Yeah. But it was almost like we're on a different page, and it's
you guys are on incredibly different paths. In
Yeah.
life. That could not be stated more
but
bluntly.
the sweetest guy.
The sweetest guy.
Yeah. So let's see. Where are the questions? All right, we got a bunch on here and then a bunch on Facebook. I think I asked a couple of them. John Matthews Ware wants to know, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got bread on both sides and it's meat in the middle.
In Scandinavia, have you ever been there?
No.
They eat a lot of hot dogs.
Oh, do they?
And the bun is closed completely, and they drill basically like a hole down the middle.
And just jam it in?
Yeah, but then
That's pornographic.
Yeah, they put like mayonnaise and ketchup in there, and then
it just splooges out the sides?
So fucking gross. And whenever they do it, I'm like, I can't eat that. I can't eat that. You just fucked the bun.
You just, I feel dirty. Give me that hot dog.
Okay. Ask him if he remembers how many times a day do you train. That's the Tahoe thing. Tahoe Throwdown.
But that always, like, it made me... For me, I saw so much change with what I did with one a day and how hard it was for me to do one a day.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, and I was young, you know, like, so I didn't realize that there were other psychologies out there, you know, like other people who think differently and feel differently. So when I'm doing one a day and I'm like laid out, like I finished a workout and I would just lie there for like an hour and a half and people are like, yeah, I do 3. I'm like, what is fucking wrong with you?
Did it change the way you worked out at all after that?
No.
Oh, you didn't go, I'm going to do 3 a day now?
No, not at all. But I did eventually start doing more to handle more volume because that's the nature of the games. They became more and more voluminous. Sure. So just for the game, you had to be able to handle more volume.
Yep.
What I would say, though, is when I did that, I very slowly built it up. And I actually got less overall fit in terms of individual performance and just more like you said, a game of endurance.
The tolerance.
I could handle that. The tolerance went up.
Somebody said, Marie Vrubala. I hope I said it right, Marie. She said, I love Pat. Could you ask him if he has any regrets? You know, like 10 years ago, eggs were a dirty word, and now we're basically an egg nation. Anything like that in his fitness journey? Fitness or life journey?
Regrets. I jokingly say no regrets all the time, just like with my kids. Like I'll do something and they'll be like, that was dumb. I'll be like, no regrets. And like, and I don't really have many regrets. I have some regrets about how things turned out with certain people and I didn't see who they were sooner.
Yeah.
And I don't know. No, not really. Just I have some regrets about holding on to relationships too long.
Yeah. I probably have the same thing. Mathcon said, surf is up in Santa Cruz and you're going to spend the day on a mic? No,
we went out.
We put surf first.
We did.
He surfed. I watched from the outside.
I mean, it was a great watching location.
Albie always, my buddy Albie Lair, who's like a really good surfer, pro surfer.
Okay.
He always said, his joke with me is Eddie wouldn't go.
Eddie wouldn't go. That's a solid one for you, Eddie. Albie, I was joking, by the way. You are amazing. All the clips. So good.
Yeah, the best. He should. I should get a T-shirt made that says Eddie wouldn't go.
Dude, that would hit 2 markets.
My buddy, when I first started surfing, he would take me to big waves. Used to call me Eddie Outside because I would just paddle to the outside and then go. He'd be like, "Are you going to go?" I'm like, "You going to get me a helicopter to get me out of here?" Like, you really want me to go get pummeled?
If you made that shirt, I would buy it. Like, I would buy Eddie Wouldn't Go in honor of you. You should sell that at your next show.
When I do the Jaws thing, I think I'm going to make those shirts because there's such a good chance I'm not going.
I will promote that. I will promote that on all my social if you do that, and then you don't even have to do anything.
Hashtag Eddie Wouldn't Go.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't understand, but the Eddie Aikau is a competition. Waimea, Eddie Aikau was a famous surfer. If you've seen the 30 for 30, Eddie Aikau was this great Hawaiian surfer, and one time they're in this boat race from, I forget which islands they go to. The one boat overturned, and the guys were all like sitting on the boat. They couldn't flip it back over, and Eddie grabbed his surfboard and said, I'll paddle to go like get help, and he died.
Yeah.
But the motto was like Eddie would go. He would go on any wave, and he wasn't afraid.
Go on any wave, would go for anything.
He'll go save your life. I'm the opposite. I will let you all die.
You will
and
die.
I will not. I will not ride that
under
wave.
the boat.
Feo Mateo said, was his performance in the final event at the games either 11 or 12 when he pulled the rope to take the win his plan the whole time? It was so strategic.
Have you seen that clip?
No.
That's my favorite moment I've ever had in physical, like anything. Like that was, I watch that or think about that and it fires me up. So essentially what happened was there was a triplet, right? And you had 3 minutes to get as far as you could in this like chipper. So the chipper was calories on a row, wall ball, toes to bar. I think it was sumo deadlift, high pull, box jumps, push press, and then it finished with a pull of a sled across the thing. And
I remember.
It was a lot of reps across this. And they had
that was the final event, wasn't it? Yeah.
And they had 3 separate AMRAPs in a row: a 3-minute, a 6-minute, and a 12, and then a go till finish. Right?
I remember it totally.
And it was scored 3 different ways. And I looked at the number of people who were in the thing, and I was like, "There's only 12 of us. Worst place I can get is 12th. So here's what I'm going to do: I'm going to go balls to the wall on the first one, and I'm going to just hit it as hard as I can and see if I can place high in that. Then, in the second one, I'm just going to sandbag the entire thing and take a dead last. I'm going to take the entire 6 minutes to rest.
Interesting.
And then I'm going to go as hard as I can in the final one because I knew my only placing would be that 12th. You know, like that's the lowest I could get.
So you're going to get maybe first, 12th.
And then whatever happens. And I'll be fully recovered by the time I hit that.
So you'll be like average there at 6th place.
Right.
Because you've got a first and a 12th.
Right.
So then you can only finish, if you got 12th again, you'd be like 9th or something at the worst.
But they're 3 separate scored events.
I see. So you're going to take the points on that one. No points on that.
Points on the last one. So
genius.
I mean, I thought it was a good idea until I started into the first AMRAP and realized that the 3 movements were all big guy movements. It was row, wall ball, and it was like, 50 calories, 50 wall ball, straight into toes to bar. So I guess not a big guy movement, but it was like, it was enough to where a dwarf cannot beat across 3 minutes.
What are you, 5'8"?
Yeah, I'm like 5'7".
5'7". Average male height.
170.
Thanks to Asia.
And 170 pounds,
Right.
And these guys I'm in the heat against Matt Chan, Jason Khalipa, these horses, who can get on a rower, and their calories are done. So I'm starting into the row and I look over and I'm like, this was a bad idea. Like I immediately am fucking dead last, coming out of this. And so I finished the 3 minutes, and I think I got 10th. I think I almost got last on that. And then, and then we go, if not last, we go to the next one, and I'm like, do I stick with the plan? I'm like, I stick with the plan. So I sit on the. I'm like, it was bad across 3 minutes. How can I make ground?
I can't believe I don't remember this.
So then I sit on the rower, and I hear the announcer's like, something might be wrong with Pat, and I'm like. Just cruising, just barely going. I hop off and, I walk over, shake out my arms, do a couple wall ball here and there, put it down, and people are like, what the hell's going on? That whole thing goes down, and then we do the final round, and I start pushing, and I ended up getting past, I get all the way to the end, and Jason Khalipa still beats me to the end, because he's a horse.
Right.
And he beats me to the end, we're like neck and neck, we get to the end.
This is in the final one.
This is in the final one.
And you're just totally rested for this one.
But there's all the little stations to get there.
Right.
I start pulling the sled across, and the sled is not moving. It's like a super heavy sled. And it's just absolutely not moving. And I look over at Jason, he's doing the same thing. He's leaning forward, you grab it, fall backwards, and it's across the whole tennis stadium.
Yeah.
And it's moving an inch each time we do this. And both of us are like, holy crap. And so we're just looking at each other, falling over. And
I do remember that pull, and I remember thinking, like, are they trying to kill them at this point?
Right.
Like,
That's what it felt like.
Weren't you guys like wrapping your hand in the rope?
And then just ripping it over. Yeah. So, but then what happened is on one of mine, I pulled and it took the tension out of the rope, and then I pulled again and it came with that. So what was happening is the rope had slack, so it would flex a little bit, and then a little bit of force would go into it. And when it was long, that was an issue. But once it got halfway across, as soon as you got tension, you could actually keep the friction. It broke the friction, and you could pull it all the way. I'm good at figuring stuff like that out. Others are not.
Yeah.
So I am like, I'm probably Jason's a quarter of the way to go, and I'm half the way to go. I'm way behind him, and because I got to this place and I'm just screwed. And other people are on the thing, and I hit this halfway, and it starts falling over. And on the next one, I start going, and it just starts moving. And I'm like, oh my God. And everyone's moving it by like an inch. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, just don't stop. Just don't stop.
Because you've got like the momentum.
I got the momentum, and it's like, it's broken the friction. And I felt the whole stadium was completely full. I felt everyone's entire energy just go, whoa, and like everyone starts cheering, and they're watching my sled. And you watch it on camera, and his is like, and mine's like, and slowly, and Jason's looking over, and I just like pull it across the finish line, and I looked around at like 15,000 or 9,000 cheering people, and I was like, that was unreal. And so like, yes, I remember that. Yes, it was on purpose. Greatest moment.
That's amazing. There's so I don't watch the games as much as I used to. I go sometimes, but I remember some moments. I remember are Josh Bridges when he did the monkey bars.
Yeah.
And he just was flying, went like up and back and caught up to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one of those, like, it was like watching a football game or a basketball game. It was like, oh my God, he's running for the end zone.
Yeah.
And then I remember Kalipa when he couldn't, I think it was like a thruster or a snatch.
It was the Amanda snatch where he's falling all over.
Oh, that was one of those like,
what are you doing?
Just
what
stop.
are you doing? Slow down. Just stop.
Stop.
Shows you the psychology.
That's when I saw Hunter do it. It was the same exact thing. And I just remembered Kalipa, and I was like, you fucking idiot. Stop.
Stop.
Just stop. Don't even walk back there. Like, just wait it out, shake it out, take some time, and go. And every time he started, I was like, you idiot. But I'm trying to think of some other amazing moment. Froning messing up the rope climb. Mm-hmm. And then another great one is when Fraser and, what's his name, 2 years ago, fell down the off the cargo net.
Oh, yeah. Vellner.
That was hilarious, but scary.
Yeah, terrifying.
Like, I felt really bad for them.
And they're both okay, which we're happy about.
Let me see. There's a couple more questions, and then we're done. Because it's fucking cold here. That's the downfall of Santa Cruz. Would you rather drop from first place to fourth place on the very last workout of the CrossFit Games, or you win first place, but you shit your pants on live TV after every workout?
Oh, every workout? I'm shitting my pants?
I love how that's the determining.
If it was one time, like I finished the final event and just like blow out, like I'd probably take that. But every one, I'm crapping my pants.
You would be remembered forever.
If
you won and then just went.
I mean, honestly, like that controversy breeds attention. I think I might go for the crapping my pants and winning the games, and then just retire. Yeah. And people will be like, "What happened?" I'll be like,
"I didn't like shitting my pants.
I just was done shitting my pants on every event. I'll take my $275,000."
John Bender, you win for that question.
That was a funny one.
Jeremy Lesniak, what general changes within the CrossFit community are happiest and saddest to see?
Happiest? I think happiest is, I feel like the barrier to entry is the lowest it's ever been. Like when people look at CrossFit, they see it as just like a generic other program, right? Mm-hmm. It clearly is not if you're doing a good program, but it's been, the social threshold has been lowered so low by the volume of people who are doing it that I think you're more likely to have a rando person who would never have considered it before take that leap. I think that's the happiest thing for me. I think the saddest thing for me is seeing people who are ex-athletes or who have a voice in the space criticize the program because of mistakes that they made, and giving a bad name and understanding truly to what the program actually is. So I think for me, it's sad to see people who have large platforms who do stupid shit.
Don't you think some of them are doing that to sell their own platform?
100%.
Yeah, because I see that a lot.
100%.
Yeah. Not going to mention names. With all the changes at HQ and the shift back towards a health and well-being focus, does it feel like the old days when he started with Greg? Like,
we didn't have such a grand. I mean, I didn't. I was 18, 19. I never saw a grander vision there. Like the initial,
you were just following your gym teacher or whatever he was.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he was my English teacher. It was like I was just I was the guy who men die for points. Like I was in there just throwing down. So I think that the same, we're trying to undermine the fitness industry as it stood. I think that he undermined the fitness industry as it stood, and everyone now wants to be it, us, and they're doing the same shit.
Yeah, it's amazing how I said it from day one of the show that they're gonna. People hate when I do that, when I like take credit, but I saw it from the beginning where I was like, they're going to bastardize this. Everyone is going to try. And, when so I go to a lot of global gyms when I'm in a town where I can't find a CrossFit close and there's a gym. I go in and I'm just like, you guys never had this shit before CrossFit. Like, you're trying to compete with them, but you're not doing what they do. And, whatever.
The only people who can change that are good coaches who understand what we're trying to do. Yeah. And that's the thing is like those global gyms will never have that. No. They don't have anyone, even to go to level 1, they don't walk away being like, I get it. You have to be immersed in it for a long period of time and make your mistakes and then be like, and then go back to the original words. It's so like churchy, but you have to go back to the words and be like, oh, okay. All right. It never says smash your head into the wall every day. I was smashing my head into the wall every day. Like,
I remember the original. We talk about that. We talk about that on the show all the time. Like sometimes you went in, it was a CrossFit Total. Sometimes you went in and it was a 10K. Yeah. Sometimes you went in, it wasn't. Oh, we're gonna do
A, B, C,
F,
N, Y, Z,
2A, 2B.
This is the only way to get fit. I love CrossFit.
Yeah,
it
was, and I loved that because of my lifestyle and what I had to do and the variation in it, and knowing like for everything I do. I want to have good endurance. I want to be able to sprint. I want to be able to pull myself up over things. I want to be able to swim.
Are you sure you don't want to just be able to lift and then Metcon? Because just lift and Metcon. Lift and Metcon. Lift and Metcon every day.
I want to be able to drop down an 8-foot wall out of 26th Street and not be a pussy like I was today. Hashtag Eddie wouldn't go.
Eddie wouldn't go.
That was Owen Pillai. Pillai. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Owen.
I like how you try, though. That's impressive.
I try.
I would not try.
I mispronounce so many people that are guests on the show's name that I feel like they get on the show and it's in the beginning and they're just like, why am I on your show?
Yeah, that's good. It sets it up for like a level of comfort.
Julian Alcaraz was on recently, and I called him Julio, and he looked at me just like, is this how we're going to start?
Right.
And I was like, I'm an idiot. Well, I feel like Chris Farley. And remember,
kind of. I mean, like, if anyone would do anything other than laugh at somebody who mispronounced their name is a jackass.
Yeah, but I feel like Chris Farley, and and he's like, what was it like when you were, remember when you were in the Beatles, and and like you guys would like, you would sing? That was awesome. Your name is, or no, it's more like Between Two Ferns.
Yeah.
But he does it intentionally.
Oh yeah.
I am legitimately an idiot.
Right. I feel you, man.
Okay. John Adams. What are his thoughts? Great way to end it. What are his thoughts on the current state of CrossFit?
As a company or as a program or as a global movement?
Let's go as a company.
As a company, I think that CrossFit has just come out of a state of flux, like a really heavy state of flux, like getting rid of the entire media team, restructuring how everything went, and then just doing things that matter to Greg, right? Which right now, like you saw, is the health thing. I think that as a company, we just had that huge win with the ANSI, the NSCA. Mm-hmm. Basically, NSCA's lost, and they're fucked. They have no money.
Oh, really? It took that much out of them?
Well,
it was $4 million? Was it $4 million?
No, $4 million is just the legal fees.
Oh.
That has nothing for the countersuit of the damages.
Ooh.
So with regards to how it damaged the brand, how it damaged every affiliate and the potential revenue streams.
Wow.
So like, that's not even anything other than the one thing, which was just legal fees.
Oh, wow.
And so like,
they're done.
And they're showing that they're bankrupt. Like they're fucked. So like I see as a company.
Well, again, it was a dick thing to do. It was a dick thing to do.
It ran deep, dude. It was like full. They had more emails about CrossFit than we as an internal company of CrossFit have about CrossFit.
Oh, that's
creepy. It was bizarre. And anyway, I think the company, I obviously am I believe in what they do. And obviously I don't think everything's been done in the cleanest possible way.
Yeah.
But I do think as a company, they're at a point where like a lot of things that they wanted to happen are happening. And they're just going to continue plugging along, doing their thing.
Yeah.
I think now for me, it's as a community is like, what do we see, and what I think more people with loud voices need to be like, hey, this is what's still awesome and has been awesome since day one about all of this. Like, all this stuff is secondary to making the person who walks in your door have a better day and live a better life. And how we do that is through constantly varied functional movements, activity, high intensity, with an intention of improving work capacity across broad time and middle domains.
Wow, I can't believe you were able to do that. I still, after 10 years, can't do that.
Well, you don't do it for a living.
Yeah.
I can't do your routine. I'm pretty bad at it.
So let's go to your programming. You, what would you say your programming? You program 4 affiliates.
Yeah.
You program
we just do CrossFit.
And what kind of stuff are you programming? What would you give an example of, like
a program?
Yeah.
I think for what I'll say is, like, the main thing that I really believe in is that doing a good CrossFit program is not very difficult unless you choose to make it difficult. Like, writing the program is very straightforward. It's been since the day one we started doing CrossFit. I think people make it more complicated than need to be. So ours is simple and it's straightforward, and there's a clear direction of what you're trying to do. And then the thing that we actually sell is the lesson plans. My wife is a brilliant, brilliant woman, and she writes super detailed lesson plans for coaches. And the focus is on basically making coaches better, using this as a way to improve your skills.
You just answered the question, because I was going to say to you, how do you differentiate yourself from like HQ, from their main site?
Yeah.
And that's it right there, is that you're going to give... and I like that when I go in class, it's not just like, hey, here's the workout. You guys all know how to do this. So let's do these, or let's just go through the movement. It's, this is why we're going to do this. This is why we're going to do these warm-up movements to get to these things. This is how we're going to progress, and this is how you should, think about this and why this is helping you.
1 month of programming is like 75 pages of writing.
Wow.
So like and then videos for every day of me talking about how I'd approach the day as a coach. And it's like,
you do this out of your home gym?
We make all the videos and stuff out of our home gym, but we have about 100 affiliates worldwide who do what we do. So we have people, testing it out for us and making sure things are going good, and we're always listening to feedback and just making things better and better. So
you sell, what's your site that you use?
That's called warmupandworkout.com.
Okay. Warmupandworkout.com.
Yeah.
And your Instagram is?
Pat Barber CF.
Pat Barber CF. What about your wife, so they can go there too?
It's Tamarin.
You don't even know
Barber?
your wife's.
Taz Barber.
Yeah, you don't know.
She's changed it, man.
I hope she hears this.
She probably won't.
She should leave you.
But I would say that if you're into the business stuff, go to Warm Up and Workouts Instagram. Just Warm Up and Workout.
Okay.
On Instagram. My Instagram is my family. And surfing, they live in my life, and it's like, you know how it is. It's like,
I'm the same
people
way.
Like, sell shit. I'm like, fuck you. This is my photo journal. Like, my weird thing for me is I like to go to an Instagram page and I look at it and say, this is how the person sees the world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because to me, that's what I do. This is my photo journal. I want to look back on it in 20 years and go, look what I was doing then, And when I see it, it's like a selfie, a selfie, a selfie, a selfie. I'm like, that's how you see the world.
Years ago, I heard a CEO of a corporation, they asked him, he was one of the big internet companies, and they said, how many apps do you have? And he said, I only have one. And they go, what? He goes, I only have one app on my phone because I don't like to waste time on my phone. They go, what's the app? He goes, I have this app where I post a picture a day of what I'm doing so that I can go back and look at my life.
Right.
And I was like, that's what Instagram is to me.
That's exactly what it should be.
It's like, hey, what did I do today? I surfed, or I went and we did this podcast, or I, did my show tonight, or I went and ate this place. And then I get to look back and I see a history of my life.
Yes.
And it gives me,
smile.
it's nostalgic. Yeah. But then you get on
Imagine if you were fake as shit every single time. And like, that you got to be so hollow. You look back at it and you're like, shit, I was so fake. Like for me, it's like,
and I blame women for that.
No,
yes, I do.
Ow.
Yes, here, I'll tell you how. We just had all our family, my wife's family, down at the beach or the lake where her family lives, and we took a big group shot, family shot, and I took a lot of the photos, and then I just sent them all to them right there.
Yeah.
And I didn't post any. I was like, you guys go post them. This is your family. I'm just in it. And I looked at my picture, and then I looked at my wife's younger, like pretty young cousin that is like in her 20s. And I looked at her photo of us all, and I'm like, that's not the photo I took.
That is,
how did you make us all look amazing? like I don't remember, like, my cheeks do not look like that. That's and the color, everything. Oh, yeah. And it's just this generation is so good at creating things that don't really exist.
Right. Now, if that promotes them to live a better life, if they go like, God, I hope I'm as good as my Instagram someday, then fucking power to it.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people who are my generation who are this duality of like, you look at them online and like, I know you as a person.
Yeah.
That's not your life.
No, you're a mess.
Like, and then I get these people message me and they're like, man, like I see your Instagram. I know it's Instagram, so I don't know if this is actually how you are. I'm like, man, I could be nothing other than what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand why you would want to be anything different. Like, maybe I don't post a video of me yelling at my kid because my fucking phone's not out. Like, if my phone was out and I was filming and I yelled at my kids and I had that content, I'd put it out there for the world.
I'm the same way. All these comedians, when they fly on a private jet somewhere to a gig, they post pictures of them in front of the jet, on the jet.
Well, you got to sell yourself, bro.
Yeah, because
we're not going to make that dollar.
It creates that, like, oh, they're successful. Why do you want to follow them? So I'm on a private jet one time, and there's not enough seats, and I had to sit like in the shitter, like in the bathroom.
You post a picture of the toilet in the private jet?
I'm literally sitting in the bath. And to me, private jets are the worst thing in the world. They're smaller, they're scarier. Like if you said
so much more variance, they crash more often.
Exactly. I do not see the benefit of it, other than you get to drive up. You don't have to go through security. That's it. That's the only benefit. So I'm sitting in the shitter, and I was like, I got to post this picture because this is to me what this
100%. But people love it. I think people love idolizing something that's material that they don't have. Like they really want to see that, or like they really want to see the bikini model and be the bikini model. And like, I get it.
Here's a girl. I was in Australia, and a girl said to me, "Oh, you're American. I love Paris Hilton." And I go, "Why?" And she goes, "Because she has the life I want."
And you're like, do you know that she has very little meaning? I can't say that. I don't know Paris very well.
I get it. But like, the vapidness, you know what? She's probably, like we were saying, we were both assholes when we were younger. Yeah. She who knows? She might have developed. She might be a really good person.
Who knows? It could have happened.
But she used to be a vapid, dirty.
I wonder if there's anyone around who says, "Hey, cut that shit out." But I think when you get to a certain level of fame that nobody ever does.
I know. Like I was telling you earlier today. Nobody, people just bow down to you. And
yes.
I
think famous people should hire straightforward assholes to be around them and be like, "Hey, this is a dumb freaking idea." Like they walk around and be like,
"Well,
who's the guy who just put out the song against Eminem? What's his name? Nick Cannon."
Oh God.
You go. No one around was like, "Hey, Nick."
But here's the thing. I know a lot of really famous people that have no real friends.
Right.
They just have sycophants around them. Like if
I say they could pay a real friend, a straightforward person.
But so I think you can only become really successful not having a lot of good friends.
Oh, maybe.
Because you don't have anyone to. My friends are constantly going, "You look like a douchebag. Stop doing that. Everybody hates you." In a funny way, enough to like humble me that I don't. Where these guys that are super successful are like, "I'm doing this. No one's telling me not to," and it's because you don't have any friends to tell you not to, because you look like an idiot, but you are going to become super rich and have no meaning. Yeah. That's the end of this. I have nothing else to say. I talk so much. I'm sorry. This should have been about you, Pat, but it became all about me.
That's what I felt. I was like, it's all about you. Eddie wouldn't go.
It's a good ending of the day. Beautiful sunset here in Santa Cruz in our park, where it turns from a dog park into a homosexual dating park. I think we're going to pick up some dudes.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, so thanks for doing it. I appreciate it. Awesome day. This might have been my best Wadcast day ever.
Oh, snap.
I
Put
swear.
that on the air.
All right. Goodbye.